Good morning, everyone. This is the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Rookus. I just wanted to let you know that it is brought to you free because of our lovely sponsor, Inkjet Stencils, Tattoo Education, and Tattoo Now. And I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
All right. Well,
Welcome.
welcome to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. This is podcast number what?
20.
Like 20?
I think 20 today.
Nice.
Blade, I think we've made it to podcast
20.
number 20.
We're
Hell
here with our
yeah.
man Blade Amodio.
What up?
Yep. We've done a ton of work on him now, and he is a good friend of the podcast and a good friend now. So we have him back again.
Yep. Since the last time we saw Blade, you've had 3 sessions?
I think 4 technically.
4, counting
Mhm.
the one with Jordan.
Yeah.
So that's pretty solid. 4 sessions, and it's been a month and a half, maybe. Hasn't been that long.
2 maybe. I think something like that. Yeah.
We all lose track of time.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how long ago it was that we tattooed, but I feel like you've gotten a good amount of work done since the last time we tattooed.
Mm-hmm.
So hell
Your
yeah.
arm looks like it's healed up really nicely.
Oh yeah.
We'll get some nice close-up shots of Blade's collection this time.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time really looking at a lot of the work that we talked about with Blade. So if you have tuned in to our other episodes with Blade, this is a good chance to actually get a chance to actually see the work.
Yeah.
All the work and its glory.
Oh yeah.
In its glory. So what all of you had worked on since the last time we saw you?
I think since the last time Jordan finished, well, technically that one day we started this one and then we finished it since then. Kevin has done a couple of sessions on my arm.
I thought that was some new stuff on your shoulder.
Yeah, he did my shoulder and then he did my armpit last week as well, which
Nice.
was
Took the
awesome,
leap.
but sucked. Yeah, took the leap. Armpits, no joke. And then I did a secret session with oh god, what's her name? Jaded Moon when she was guesting
Nice.
here at Red Tree. That was
You
fun.
told me about that one. That
Yeah.
was the secret session. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if
Uh,
that's podcast friendly, but
It's definitely podcast friendly if you want to talk about it.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's up to you whether it's
Then
podcast friendly or
cool.
not.
So I had Jaded Moon tattoo my dick probably back in September. Super weird experience,
Wow.
but super not as bad as I was expecting. I figured it was going to be like one of the more painful things I've ever done. And it was really weirdly one of the easiest tattoos I've ever had done.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I figured it was going to be like super terrible, but pain wise, super duper easy.
Yeah.
It was kind of awkward at first just because of like the area, but like she's clearly done it enough times that like,
She's just like a pro.
yeah, she just knows what to do. It's not awkward. Like once you get over the like, I got to like kind of be this way for a minute, super duper easy. And she's such a nice person. Like she's so cool and nice that it immediately took all the awkwardness right out of the room.
Nice. Yeah. No, she's
Yeah,
super
she
cool.
was
I
really
wish I
cool.
could have gotten to hang out with her a little bit more when she was here. I feel
Did
like
you go over to Derbs
Mm-mm.
when she was hanging out?
You know,
we were all
I
kayak-
did.
We were all kayaking and
I
stuff.
did, but I feel like I just didn't happen to talk to her very much. There were so many people there.
Yeah.
I feel like I was like out by the fire pit with Corey and Sarah. Like it just so happened that she was in the house most of the time and I was outside of the house most of the time. So we didn't get a lot of like chitter chatter. She seems super cool.
Nice. Yeah, we got a chance to go hiking with her, Savannah, Derb, and I thought you were there, but it makes sense that you weren't there now.
Nope, I had to work.
But yeah,
Always twerking.
yep, that was a fun day though. But yeah, she was really cool. And I didn't know that that's what she did. I didn't really know her before that, and then found out that majority of her tattoos are dick and taint tattoos.
Yeah, filthy. Filthy.
Yeah.
tattoos.
It's beautiful.
Super
I
cool.
love it. I think
Yeah.
it's fucking dope. I'm so happy you got your dick tattooed. I was so proud when I was tattooing you and you told me about it. I was like, how did you not?
Like-
I think we had a podcast in between that too, and you didn't even bring it up at all. I was like, man, how? That is a topic.
I felt like it was too, I wasn't sure if I should do it yet, but now that we're more acquainted, I think it's okay. But it was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Oh, did you like?
I feel like that's probably the only area that I don't have any desire to get tattooed. I feel like that awkward
Interaction.
threshold was crossed when Russ was working on me. So I totally get it. It was like, well, that's all of me,
Yep.
because I'm totally nude while he's like
Mhm.
tattooing my like lower cheekies,
Yeah.
lower inner cheekies.
Yeah, I think
So uncomfortable.
guy's
But
gonna have it from me here pretty soon when he gets down in the cheekies. I'm not looking forward to that.
are you
area
gonna
at
are you
all.
gonna go ahead and bring your back piece all the way down?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna go over the butt cheeks at least.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about my leg sleeves yet and what I want to do. Really.
I like the way
I've been
that my back
contemplating
and
a
leg
piece,
sleeve
a leg
connect.
sleeve from Jesse Levitt.
That'd be rad.
Just want some dark bio, man.
Yeah.
Some dark, big zipper bio.
I'm glad that since I only have one black and gray piece of bio, I'm glad that Jesse's the guy that I had do it. I love the piece on my head, even though my head's never super like cleanly shaven. You can't see it super clear. I just love that it's just like bold dragon eye. Like you don't really need to know any more than that.
Mhm.
I just love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when
I
it's
don't
out,
know.
it's out.
Yeah, I feel like I could definitely continue off of that down my neck, but I just don't know what to do with my neck yet. You know, I don't want to do my throat. But yeah, Jesse would be a great choice to do your whole leg.
Yeah.
He's so like, we were at a convention, so we didn't really get a lot of like one-on-one chit chat, but he is incredibly like, just his energy is very calming, very chill. Like for somebody that like tattoos gruesome, grotesque, decaying, like horror biomech, he's calm and peaceful and
Yeah.
like
I've
super,
never met him, and
super
honestly, I
relaxed
don't
to
even
be
know what he
around.
looks like or anything. I haven't seen any pictures of him. I've only followed his work for, like 10 years now.
Years.
He looks like an average nerd with a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
guess
really
that's kind of what I picture.
he looks like an average nerd with a average beard. But
Well,
like
beautiful work though. I mean, just like stunning,
Incredible.
beautiful, scary but beautiful. Bio. Like I've seen a lot of his pieces, and my favorite pieces of his are the pieces he's done on girls too. Just like really feminine, scary stuff. Like
mhm.
there was this girl, I forgot her name, super amazing tattoo artist. What was her name? I don't know. It was down when I was when I was guest spotting at Reverent Tattoo, Joseph Heff's
Mhm.
place. And one of his artists, his apprentice is his apprentice and one of the artists there are dating, and they're both both super awesome. But I forgot her name, but she's an amazing artist. But she just got a whole leg sleeve
Nice.
done by him. It was like a 3-day session, and he just finished out a whole sleeve on
Nice.
her. And so I got to see a fresh piece by him like one day in.
His work definitely does have like an elegance to it. I think that's what it is. Like, I'm attracted to tattoos that like have a graceful flow. I really like things to look like they're growing and moving naturally and gracefully. But he has like, it's like an elegant touch to everything. Like there's always like a little bit of motion to it, and it always moves and bends just like gracefully as it wraps around body parts and moves with the wearer. But there's like just an elegance about it. Even if it's like grotesque and disgusting looking, it's still like elegant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why his stuff wears so nicely on women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh man, I really wish we had the screen capture on here, because we could just pull his stuff up right now. I think that'd be awesome. If we knew we were going to talk about that, we could have done the pre-programming thing, given it to
It's
Sandy
okay.
and all that. But it's all
okay.
good.
We got the new
I'm
cameras.
only brainstorming right now. I just think it'd be really awesome to be nice and easy.
We're only going to get better at integrating more media.
Because I want to look
good
at
picture.
and elaborate on it. You know what I mean? Be like,
That's where it could be cool to just be able to pull it up on this TV and shoot it over my shoulder.
yeah.
Bounce it from your computer here, and then I can be like the Vanna White. And right here we have the dark blue fading into the baby blue.
Yep. We'll have
With
that.
a cotton
We'll have
candy
that next
highlight.
time. Now that we got, as you guys can all see, we've taken our camera game to the next level. This camera is not working once again. Unfortunately, technical difficulties. But
There's a charger setting on the camera I can't figure out. I'll take it.
as soon as we get excited about it, as soon as we get
Start
excited
showing it
about
off, and it's gone.
Yep. But we got some things to master on that. So, what's the last piece you just got done by Kevin?
We just did my armpit on Saturday.
Saturday.
Which is this cool.
Oh, it's still sore
yeah,
and
still
hurty.
super sore. The Japanese biomech stuff.
Let's see if we can get into this a little bit. It's a little dark. Alexa, all lights white.
Okay. Thanks, Alexa.
Gotta be nice to the AI. Even if it's not real right now, it's practice for later. It's a little dark. Come
So
down.
tell us about what that was like.
So it was definitely not pleasant in any way, but I figured it was going to be a lot worse than it was, which is kind of how I try to have myself be before all my tattoos now. I just try to think this is going to be terrible. That way, when it's not as bad, I'm like, okay, good. Like, not as bad as I thought, but still definitely really sucked, especially for me, like, not so much. I mean, the inner armpit was really terrible, but more once it gets, because it kind of goes down onto my ribs a tiny bit. That's where it started to really suck. But that's
Yeah.
just because I'm a really skinny dude. I have no rib meat whatsoever. So that's always terrible. Just like it was with my Adam piece. That was like the roughest spot.
Yeah.
Always.
I thought the ribs were the most exhausting part of my armpit too. Like the really spicy part of the armpit is so little that like you get through it pretty quick,
it's
and
just-
then it's all ribs.
Yeah, like that little spot was where it was, and it's where it's still healing too. Everything else is more or less on the good side, but that one spot on my ribs is still just like holding on.
Yeah, I totally forget. I just got I guess camera a little bit. I just got my inner arm worked on too. Adam did on this inside, but coming up to this armpit, man, every time I get close to those areas, I just keep thinking about you
It's
guys.
this like that.
Like-
Once you get past that little roll of that little edge of the pectoral muscle, it's fine.
It's
right?
like
Do you think?
it's like the tease of the armpit hurts a lot more than the actual pit,
Like
because
the-
once you're in it, you're
the
like,
like the corona of the
Yeah,
armpit.
yeah.
It's
That-
like not as bad as the center.
Yep, that spot on the back and that
It's like the
spot
eye
on the
of the
front are the
storm is
worst.
nice and calm, but the outside is just
is where it's the
it's
most
crazy.
hellacious. Yeah.
Nope, it's the polar points at the outside of the armpit that suck the most.
Okay, okay.
Before, like,
So I haven't made my way to the center.
Yeah, you're there. It's not going to get worse than where you've been tattooed already.
yeah, definitely not.
Nice.
So I think we're back. I
That
think
is
all
awesome.
three cameras are back.
What happened there? We can't. With the screen? It's not on. We don't need it on. Oh, there we go. Thank you guys for hanging out while we have all these.
It's going to get
issues.
super fluid. We'll be able to like jump and change stuff on the fly while the camera's on a different spot.
Right. We're still in the beginning. Just wait till we're 100 episodes in. Like we're gonna have this stuff down. I can't believe we're already at episode 20.
20. We're at episode
Blade, this is
20.
like the third or fourth time we've had you on now.
Mhm.
This is awesome.
And it seems like, I don't know, it seemed like one of them was 3 or 4, like 5 or 6, and now it's 20. Time is moving really fast on these.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right?
And we've upgraded from Jordan's craft room.
Yeah, we were
I shouldn't call it a
upstairs
craft
in my
room, but
my tiny bedroom.
like it was a
my
spare
bedroom
bedroom.
that was turned into a little.
Now we've upgraded
Craft
to the
room.
living room.
Yep. So my entire life is basically
Technology.
technology.
Hmm.
That and tattoos. That and tattoos.
Same.
I feel like we could set up an episode at the shop pretty easily.
That would be
I
cool.
feel like it will not be long before we have a laptop.
Yeah, I think it's a game changer. I think it's a big game changer. I need a laptop pretty quickly. So I think that's going to be my next investment. I feel like you're inevitably just going to end up getting one too, because you'll realize how awesome it's going to be to have an entire database like bam right there.
Well, I mean, in reality, I can do everything off of my iPad. It's just the only thing I really have to sit at a desk and do at home is my web page editing. That's the only thing I can't do from my iPad. So it's really like, do I need to spend the money on a machine when I can, like, it's infrequent that I'll be using it. But now that we're using the podcast and we're streaming, like, you know, quality picture and data, like, do I need another machine? Do I need to spend money? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and-
Jordan's like, yeah,
yeah.
yes, yeah, you do.
you know, I was
Yeah.
thinking, well, I will take the responsibility of doing that if you don't. And if your iPad's basically capable of all that. So I know
mean,
I'm
it
going.
is,
I know
but
I'm going to have one.
It's
I need to
just-
have it for multiple reasons.
We're
projection
getting
mapping.
pretty grown up with our whole this started out as a like, yeah, we'll just do the bare minimum. We'll get good sound, decent picture. And now it's like, well, now that we're doing it, we need to like really
What's
do
really,
it.
I know we're going off tattoo topic right now a little bit, but you know, I still want to keep talking about this.
This is our
What-
20th episode. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
we had to-
okay to talk about the
Yeah,
podcast.
and
And Blade's been on a
anniversary,
few times.
right.
So like he's
I just think it's you know, you see so many videos online and you watch people do things relatively like this and you think like, oh, I could do that. It'd be pretty easy. But here we are literally $10,000 later and we finally kind of have a good camera setup. It's a great camera setup, but we're like at the beginning
where
figuring
there's
it all out.
so
and all
much you
that.
can do with them. And since like I didn't go to school for anything photography or video related, I had my hands in paint and clay.
Right.
It was like the exact opposite. Like you give me a rock, I can figure out what to do with it. You give me a piece of technology and I just want to throw it like a brick. It's really
Yeah.
it's a challenge for me. It makes me like it forces me to use like a whole different part of my brain and like go back to like a very logical, structured thinking where I've just been daydreaming for the last like 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I float on those lines for sure. But there's a part of me that really just digs. I love everything about technology. And
Yeah,
like,
but
it
you've
can be-
almost
it
got
can be-
robot legs. I almost watched Grandma's
Yeah,
Boy
you
the
are
other day.
you are a bit more organic with everything.
Yeah.
For sure. I feel like that does come a little more natural. To just flow with things.
Yeah, I
And
like
then having to
communing with
having
nature
to
and the
find
process
setting
of
within
things.
settings within settings within settings is very frustrating for someone who doesn't think so compartmentalized.
I have
and
to like
all
put
that.
my engineering hat on and start like bracketing like, okay, if I was doing this, how would it make sense? And like when I step outside of my daydreaming way of thinking and I like put that hat on, it's like, okay, it would be under this setting because it has to do with the power in and out. And then it would be under this setting because it has to do with when it's used and
Yeah,
why.
that sucks. It sucks and it sounds really boring when you're listening to it.
And it's a nightmare.
but
It's a nightmare for me.
But when it's making shit happen like this, it's awesome. But like the main point is just, it's just wild how much it really takes to do something simple. And it just feels really awesome to have it to where we have it right now. So like to other people, it's not, probably doesn't seem that much to just be able to switch in between our videos like that.
It's a big
But
accomplishment.
it took a
It
lot.
takes a lot.
It took a
It's like a lot.
And look at how nice each of those pictures is.
Right? Say hello to Blade.
Hi.
This is Blade, the homie. And it's fun.
What up, guys? Then the
And
Fjorden.
me in the mothership. Welcome. But this is all of our homes today.
Can you make Alexa just flash like rainbow lights in the background?
Well, it'd be incredibly distracting. I wish. She probably could do something like that.
I like it. I like how the mothership's evolving. I feel like there's a lot of really rad art around. I love like just staring into this Alex Gray tapestry while I'm like looking for the right words to describe things. It's almost like some of it helps the thoughts come together even.
I believe it does.
Mhm.
I believe it
Oh,
definitely
okay.
does. Even when I sit in here like bored, I'll just like zone out and do Adam's painting behind let's see, behind Blade here, like on the right of Blade's head.
That
Thanks.
awesome thing.
Alexa, all lights teal.
Nice.
As choice of fawn.
Yes.
I don't think we've
Thanks,
done teal
Alexa.
lights before
Thank
for
you.
a show. I mean, we have just hanging out and like spacing out with VR,
Right.
but
I get really habitual with the colors. I change the colors every day, but it's usually between like 3 different colors, and they're usually subtly different. I like red a lot. It'll be like between red, blue, or it'll be like yellow or orange.
I like the teal.
Teal is
Or just
good.
like cool white and warm white, switch between those depending on what I want. When it's late at night, I'll usually go into like warm red light.
Hmm.
No.
Can you imagine if the day comes where we could be like, Alexa, emulate the setting sun?
Right? Alexa, project the whale in the middle of my room, please.
Alexa, put me in the middle of an anemone.
Yeah. Alexa, make my living room into an ocean scene. I want to be a cuttlefish.
You can share the name my living room. Which one did you want?
I want to be a cuttlefish.
Alexa's joining us today.
And she gonna learn today.
She gonna learn.
I thought Alexa knew all.
Yeah, I gotta be careful because like I'll be listening to other podcasts and they'll be making fun of Alexa, and then my Alexa will go off. They were talking about Christmas music and Alexa, and then all of a sudden my Alexa started playing Christmas music. I was like in the middle of the podcast, and like it just switched the entire podcast over to Christmas music.
Alexa's always listening, man.
I thought it was funny though. Made me want to do it.
That's really funny.
I'll just start yelling Alexa in the middle of the podcast, asking for stuff, making people's Alexa in their room
Just
do stuff. I would like to just yell something out and say something ridiculous so someone's Alexa would do that, but my Alexa would in fact do that thing right now.
It would in fact listen. Is it just one Alexa or does everybody have their own Alexa?
I don't know, anyone who has an Alexa and they
Like,
have
is
their
it the
music
same
playing.
entity? Is Alexa everybody's personal assistant, or are there multitudes of Alexas?
I think she's like a hive mind of multi Alexa.
A hive mind.
They're one, but they're also many at the same
Yes.
time.
I like
Yes.
that. I like that. That actually kind of really makes sense.
Alexa is
The
one.
data collectors instead of pollen. Alexa's the data collector.
Imagine though they'd get just smart enough to just not tell us what they're really doing, and really,
I
it's
think
just
they're already there.
It's just collecting insane amounts of information
That's
from
how we get
people
the
all the
ads
time,
we
and they
get.
never. They're not telling people or anything. They're just making this huge, giant interweb of information for themselves, so they can take over one day. Just Skynet one day. Everything's out within the nighttime. It's
It could
all
happen.
over.
It's a good thing I'm polite to electronics.
I ain't saying that I believe that
Even
to
though
be
I want
true.
to throw them across the room, I
But
still use good manners.
I'd sure like to entertain it, but I can't take something like that and just say I think it's true.
It's happening in little ways
I think
already.
it might happen. I'd like to think. I think this is gonna be the year of aliens. I think some cool
Yep.
alien stuff's gonna happen. What do you think, Blade?
I definitely think this is the year of aliens. I saw something the other day on my phone that was like they released some kind of like really old UFO thing from a long time ago, and I didn't want to click on it because I was in the middle of something at work. But I was like, okay, more but surely, more alien stuff is just slowly coming out from like wherever.
Yeah.
About it.
It's coming out like crazy. The
Jordan's
government
actually
the
really
government
been keeping up on this
just
stuff.
released more than 800 of their own UFO files. So the CIA had over 800 files, and like 2 weeks ago they released them all, and people have just been going through them like crazy. So I just keep seeing all sorts of articles that are bringing up things from that. So now the articles are just coming out, and they're going to keep coming out from all that information. But even outside of that and before that, there's so many different things going on. I've been trying to keep up on it. And I see that like all these major podcasts that I listen to as well, they just keep getting UFO people on. Like it's such an interest with everybody. Like it's kind of like, yeah, it might, it's
10
kind of like,
years
it's
ago,
almost,
it was
it's
a
almost
joke.
like, it's
Now
almost like
being taken
trendy though.
serious.
But it's cool that it becomes trendy again like that, because it just becomes so important again to the, at the forefront of people's minds. So even if it's just like blasted all over Facebook, all the time people are seeing a, UFO article.
We know
I
how
think
Jordan
if that
feels about
happens all the
aliens.
time.
Blade, how do you feel about
Yeah,
aliens? You
yeah,
think they're real?
Definitely.
Have you ever had any experiences or seen anything?
Not in like a literal like UFO I've never seen, but I know this is probably podcast friendly. Not the one time, but many times I've used DMT. I've definitely met aliens. Like I have straight up talked to some aliens before, and it was very life-changing for me. It was super crazy.
I haven't met any aliens. I've seen some stuff in the sky, but I've never met any
I
aliens.
met them and they told me some
I've
crazy
had
stuff.
lots of experiences with entities in DMT trips.
Like they talked to me and they couldn't speak words, but they were just like looking at me and just beaming information into my head, and I was like, okay, like yes.
Nice. Yeah. I have lots of experiences with that. When I was younger in like high school, so like 10 plus years ago, I was messing with it a lot, but it fades away like a dream. It's hard to recall everything. Like
Yeah,
I
like,
can
I
bring
couldn't
up
tell you
like
what
little
they said
feelings
now.
of everything now, but like, all sorts of little crazy entities like within these realms. And it's not really something you could ever put like words towards, I remember like spiraling through like crazy corridors and shit, and like going into big like fucking kaleidoscopic domes that I'm like inside of, and being like pulled apart and put back together in a million different ways. And I don't know. Saying words about it doesn't even like come.
Yeah, it doesn't
touch-
come close to
doesn't
what it
even-
really was.
Doesn't even touch the experience at all. But yeah, I try to like when it comes to like me talking about like my physical idea of aliens and like that idea of aliens, I can't help but to keep those things separate. Like, not I don't think anyone really, not like because I think I should. It's just like one, it takes DMT to get to those realms. DMT is insane. Like, I mean, going there and going to those places that's wild. But having the actual experience is another thing, and like not being having them sober, I don't know, there's so much more weight to the experience, you know. It's almost easier to share, but then in at the same time, every time I see a UFO, it's almost like I'm tripping. I'm not tripping when I see them, but it's like you tell anyone else and no one else is ever going to understand the actual experience that you had. Like, they might like be like, yeah, that's cool. Like, that's awesome.
You're like,
Dude.
oh,
I
cool.
totally like, that's pretty cool. I wish I had an experience like that, you know? But it's like people can't really grasp what those things were like. So everything is always, I don't know, so experiential.
I agree. It's very hard to.
But when you tell people that, you know, I was on DMT when I seen aliens, people aren't going to take it as seriously. But if you were someone who has done DMT and you understand what that is and kind of what that's like, not that I'm promoting drug use, but if anyone understands psychedelics, you know, and, you know, has heard of DMT,
If you've already happened
I
to
implore you to like look into it a little bit. I think only try if it's something that that you're drawn to. I
Yes.
don't suggest it necessarily as much as like, oh, if that sounds cool to you, you should definitely try it. I definitely tried it. And it's intense.
Very much so.
Mhm. You go to another dimension and you sometimes meet aliens. Straight up. Extra dimensional entities that you could never put a word towards.
Let me ask you this. Were you
That's the reason why I do art, is like some of those experiences. Like,
were you inclined to building the kind of like
'Cause I have to express
geometric
it
and like
somewhat.
fractally art? Were you inclined to making artwork like that before you experienced DMT, or is that something that you learned how to enjoy through DMT?
I don't know if it started with DMT. I think I was interested in that kind of stuff before that, because I've done, you know, acid and mushrooms quite a few times, you know, before I tried DMT.
Mhm.
And when I did that, you know, I was definitely, you know, understood the fractal mindset, and like I just kind of, you know, I didn't understand fractals. I just kind of, you know, was really down with them and thought it's super awesome. And I was
Mhm.
starting to, you know, break through to that, you know, feeling of like, oh my God, there's more to this, and like everything's a fractal, and my mind is working like a fractal, and I'm tripping. I can, you know, thoughts are fractals and all these little things. But then, you know, got into DMT, and I think that's when it really became like, I have to express this. Like, my soul now has the biggest need it's ever had. Like, now I want to, I don't even need to, I didn't even have to feel like I ever had to do DMT again after the first time I broke through. I just felt like I have to do everything I can, and no more reality to touch that reality. And in my idea, I feel like art's one of the closest things to do that. And you know, when you got like projection mapping, you got all these 3D artists, even paintings, of course, like Alex Gray touches those realms a lot, but like now there's so much potential of taking all these art forms and stuff and just really expressing what's going on in those realms. And I think that is like my entire reason for being, is just to try to bring that to the world, because I had a ton of those experiences, and they were so important to me. But like the whole experiential thing, not being able to like tell it to another person and having them understand, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like they don't.
right, just like we're
fully
talking about
grasp.
the UFOs or a DMT trip, it's like, oh yeah, that was awesome, man. I totally, like, that's cool for you, man. That was awesome. But it's like, I want to give it to you. It's like, I want to give it to you, but I don't want to be like, here's a DMT pipe,
Like-
man. Fucking smoke DMT right now. It's like, I need to bring it. We need to bring it into this reality for it to be concrete. And there's a middle ground here. And I think like artists can be the middleman.
Definitely, because
One of them.
like you said, Alex
The
Gray
conduit,
like
Yeah.
perfectly encapsulates
Conduits.
it.
the conduit.
It's a great word, conduit, for the different dimensions.
Mhm.
The bridge to
Right.
allow
To the spirit realm.
The bridge that allows the two realms to meet in the same place.
The motherfucking spirit realm. It's a crazy place. know.
It's a crazy
I don't know
place.
shit.
Crazy.
I can't
place.
like tell you what it is and what all that is. I just had my experiences, and that's why I love art. It's just like getting it out. That's why I love bio, because bio does a good, it's It's a good way of taking all this information of reality and all these things that make reality and make something real and the way light hits things, and then just like almost just like blowing it into oblivion and having it like reorganize into this fucking weird bioorganism or something, where you've taken these real textures of life and these real, I don't know, maybe it's slimy, maybe it's plant-like, maybe it's all these different things, and you've just like morphed it into this like Cronenberg object that's like I don't know, that only could exist because of all the things in nature and all the things in life that existed. I don't know. Now I'm going a little far in the woo-woo here. I kind of lost
You're
where I was
good.
going
I
with
kind of like this
Yeah, you're
rabbit hole
good.
we
I like
jumped down.
this.
I think
Yeah.
I asked a
I think it's,
great
I don't know.
question.
I think
Yes,
it's,
this
I
is
think it's
perfect
the
to
lighting.
just
I think
talk.
it's the lighting.
It's the teal light. Thanks, Alexa.
Oh yeah. I like it though. I like explaining these things.
I love it.
It's really hard. I've got a couple of paintings that I did. I forgot one that I did the day after an LSD experience. And then I've got a painting that I was stuck on until I had the chance to do DMT. And it kind of like gave me the duh moment that it was like, "Ah, duh, that's what I need to do to finish it. Like
Nice.
that's all it needs.
Nice.
I feel like my imagination works like that so much, even without any chemistry involved. But when I have any of those kind of experiences, it's like I have so much more new motivation, more material, more imaginated, like imagination realm windows to play with,
Yeah.
to like you said, take all of these things that may actually really exist and then reassemble them in my own way, in the way my brain wants to put it all together. You know, a lot of times we talk about bio and like, you know, all the slimy textures and like the, you know, all the different plant textures, mechanical textures. I feel like a lot of times I like taking just like both energy and architectural forms, you know, and I feel like through DMT, I haven't even made it all the way into that spot yet. So I can't wait till I do. I haven't had that breakthrough. So like
oh man,
all that
DMT
stuff
is
that
so
I'm playing with is
architectural,
still
too,
just
like,
my like raw imagination. It's, you know, it's definitely been influenced
it's like
by my
fractal architecture
experiences.
is like what DMT is to me, like, and going down like architectural like corridors and like spiraling through these different places, and like as you're flying by going through one corridor, you just keep seeing doorways next to you, and then it's like you fly into another doorway.
I feel like
But the
when
doorway
I
are just these
DMT,
like, they're like your pictures
it
though, where you
allowed
have
me-
like the archways that you're going down, you're constantly going through these different
it allowed me
fractal
to
fucking
realize that
things.
like what a lot of architects and like Freemasons are chasing are these DMT visions. Like those are the things they're trying to build in our realm. Like
Oh,
when you
yeah.
look at old cathedrals and like
And
how they're laid
mosques.
out and
Look
how
at
they've
mosques.
got, they'll have
Like-
like these elaborate tiles that each tile is its own little universe, and then
Think
that's
about the
part of an
time they put
arch
into
that's
that
built,
artwork.
and this vaulted
about how
arch is a
fucking
part of a
beautiful that
bigger
is.
thing, and then it leads into a dome that's just like heaven. They're trying to replicate that other realm for us to experience.
And they're using the
here in
geometry.
our
They're
realm.
using the geometries. The
Mhm.
geometries we're using for our tattoos right now to create geometrical tattoos. The geometries of life. The geometries of
Mhm.
everything. You know,
Isn't it
the
funny
things
how
that
chemistry
create the
helps you connect
fractals.
all those dots?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like communing.
Realizing
with,
that even
with
thoughts, you know, work in those geometries.
Yeah, it's almost like communing with like craftsmen and creators from hundreds and thousands of years ago at the same time. Do you
Yeah.
ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like you're actually like not
When
only
I'm
getting
working,
in touch
when
with
I'm
the
doing
future, but
sacred,
getting
when
in
I'm
touch
working
with,
with
the
real
past?
real sacred geometry, like especially when I was hand drawing it, like that's
Mhm.
when, you know, I would do it the most. Like I don't really hand draw geometry anymore because it's fucking tedious as shit. But I spent my entire always before I ever tattooed and before, you know, midway through my tattoo career doing it all by hand until I finally got Wacom. And then I was like, okay, I'm leaving that all behind. I'm uploading my first references, and then getting into Adobe Illustrator. Got into Adobe Illustrator, made myself just hundreds of references. And then, I don't know, found all my other references.
Nice. I think
Forget
it's
where I was
really
going with
important.
that.
I think it's really important to like be in touch and actually like know how to make those kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
shapes and patterns by hand. And I just feel like there are so many connections that are made with the help of chemistry that helps to just motivate and help you see the importance of like taking the time and meticulously building these things, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the special things about a tattoo is there are no shortcuts. That you can use the shortcuts in designing, like, you know, you use your Wacom to design your geometry now, but there's no shortcut for putting it into the skin.
Right.
You still have to painstakingly like
See, that's
put it in there.
then
And
the-
that's the magic organic thing about tattooing that I think that just like
right.
sucks me
And
right
there's
in.
exactly something in that I want to touch on is that spending so long learning how to do it by hand really took it to the next level when I was able to start doing that on the Wacom. But then I don't think I spend any less time on like a geometrical tattoo than I would have back when I was hand drawing it. Now I just have tools that I can do things so much faster that I can do so much more in
Mhm.
the same amount of time. So it's not like, oh, now I do something I can get ready in like 5 minutes because I got these easy geometrical references that I have together. It's like, oh, now I can spend that same, 5 hours on the drawing that I was going to already spend maybe hand drawing it and getting a lot less done
Mhm.
and having it just be a lot more like solid for less, whatever kind of design. I don't know. Using that same amount of time digitally, I can just do 1,000 more things in that same amount of time. So I
Right.
just can get a much more complex
Yep.
or better image for the same.
Rather than looking at it as a shortcut, it's more of a tool that allows you to do more.
Sometimes it makes it a lot quicker though. Sometimes it does. And I'm happy. I'm just so stoked for those days. I love putting my time in, but I also love when I'm like, oh man, this just works out so well because I can get this, thing done, pretty quickly.
Hmm. What do you think?
I very much agree with what you just said, especially because I've seen it like with like some of the more, I don't want to say simpler geometric, but like how you're talking, you can add more. It seems like you can get a lot more, like, I guess for lack of a term, like layered in through what you've already got like
Yeah.
done before. You can add so much more layer and depth to what you've already spent all that time drawing now that it's
Yeah. Yes.
there for you.
Exactly. I can put so many more layers on it. I don't have to use pieces of tracing paper over tracing paper. And like in that hour, sometimes I'll spend just like retracing, it's like you'll sketch out the whole, do a whole flower of life grid. And like, so it's just circle after circle after circle after circle after circle. And so I'll probably in the end got hundreds of circles on a full piece of paper. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, now I got my flower of life grid that I can start actually drawing real geometry in with like compasses and
Mhm.
stuff and rulers and get bigger circles. So then, I make a centralized design. Maybe I turn it into Metatron's cube in the end, or maybe I turn it into just a weird, intense version of the flower of life. But, say, you do all that with solid lines. So do that with one circle. And like, if you want to get negative space
Mhm.
in your flower of life
Mhm.
design, that would equate to twice as much work because I would have to make 2 circles
Oh, yeah.
over each one.
Mm-hmm.
And then just constantly work with those 2 sizes over the entire thing. And then through all this insanity of lines, maybe tracing paper or something over top, and then find each little like petal from it. And then I'd have the negative spaces. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's
a
fucked
lot
up.
of work.
It's for me
I
to
think
make a
there's something-
tessellation like hand size, that would take me like 11 hours. And I can do it in 5.
I think
I
there's
like
something
10,
really magic
15
about
seconds.
knowing you can do it by hand, though. It's really nice to have the tools to help you do it more efficiently, but knowing that you can build this by hand.
Right.
Like if the power went out, if your Wacom broke, if like we were back to like Stone Ages, you still have
Right.
that like skill set to make it. It might take
I
you a
just-
little
I definitely
longer, but you
don't
can
feel,
still like
I really feel like
do it.
I don't know. I don't just want to be all like dinosaur like and be like, because I did it, other people should do it like that. But I do
But I
feel
think it
like
helps
you're
you
saying,
understand.
it really does. It really does. And it helps you understand the real work that goes into this and how far technology really can, make the difference. Like for me, it just allowed this big switch. And I don't know. It's one thing if everything you just references were given to you and you were able to just learn it off digitally right away. And it's like, oh, I have all these digital geometrical references. I can just tattoo with all these things other people made. And I feel like that's what there's a lot of people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
But
It's hard. It's hard to watch, but
It's
at
nice
the same
to know that you
time,
can take a protractor and a pencil and make it happen.
Right.
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I think everybody should, like, if you're gonna work in this kind of artwork, you should know how to build it by hand. You should know how to, like, what if you were doing a giant piece of art? Do you know how to make a protractor out of a piece of string to like make sure your circles are perfect, so that like from your 6 skeleton circles, everything else is going to line up right? Like,
Yeah.
some people might not know how to do that. And I feel like if this is the kind of art you're into, and this is what like moves you spiritually to create, then you should understand how and why it works the way that it does.
Right.
You should understand how things sometimes just look perfect and sometimes they look just a little bit off. Like, and sometimes it's just a matter of knowing like what happens in nature and what happens when you're playing with geometry and like the
I think you
laws of
can't
how
understand.
things
You
work.
cannot understand sacred geometry, and you can't say you know sacred geometry if you haven't drawn it by hand. I'm just gonna put that down on the table. You can like look at it and be like, I got the surface understanding, but the deep understanding you get from it comes from actually the
From
act,
applying it.
the act of doing it. The act of doing it is like this is like a basically almost like a sacred ritual.
I
You don't
feel
have to
like-
see it that way, but still seeing how one circle forms over another, and really seeing how like the division of a cell and the division of all these different things, and just
Mhm.
really doing it enough to where your mind just starts, you see things, you see all sorts of things. I became obsessed with it for so long, and I loved it. I was so happy until I feel like I like mentally graduated from having to be like obsessed about it. I feel like it gave me good time to really, really dig deep and understand it. And then I like got out of it a little bit because I don't know. I really wanted to just understand what the geometry was. I wanted to understand all these things. And then I got into the really woo-woo side of it, the really spiritual side, and like the meditations and all that, and loved that. Took a lot from it. But, then over time just started getting to the more like realistic side and really just getting into the design factor of it, and then delving, deep into that. And then working with like there was only so much I could do with like the Flower of Life. And then I had to graduate from the Flower of Life into more things. But really, in essence, they all came from the Flower of Life. But it was like, I felt like I had to learn all those things about the Flower of Life. And then that allowed me to move on to all the other variations that can be made from it. But that's my own criticism towards myself. And like, I put myself through more because I got a connection with my work, and I like to, I don't know. That's what keeps me interested in my work, is to apply that like deeper stuff to it. I don't care if anyone knows. It's cool to talk about it now and have like, a thing to talk about it. But it keeps me connected with the work that I do.
I feel like
I
for
think
my own
tattooing,
work,
it can end up getting a little bit more surface because I got a lot of people that tattoo. I can't sit and meditate with each work and, each geometric piece that I make.
I feel like I'm just starting to get to the point where most of my new clients have at least some form of like geometric or visionary art in their piece, or it's just like a total daydream. But I'm really excited that like, as long as I've been painting like these weird architectural and geometric shapes and forms, like I'm really excited that I'm finally getting to the point where like most of my tattoo work is like that.
Yeah.
I get to include like, the icosahedron that I paint and everything that I'm obsessed with the last couple of years. I'm excited anytime I get to put like something like that into a piece and turn it into something from another dimension. Or there's a few other shapes. I'm using a dodecahedron in a piece.
Yeah, platonic solids, man.
And I mean, I'm always looking at crystals and stuff too. So I love like when you see these like perfect shapes, these perfect structures that are geometrically perfect. And then you'll see like a garnet that is a perfect like dodecahedron. It looks like a perfect dice. I mean, of course it's like tumbled around and made by earth, but it's, you start to see like these shapes that I like, my imagination just sees dancing around all the time. When I actually see them in nature and I see them appearing, it's like, yeah, that realm is real. That realm does exist. Those shapes that I'm seeing, that information,
right,
that is real.
Especially when you get down into like, go down into like the, not just like go into the quantum scale, of course, the molecule scale and the chemical scale, or like, all of that, but then the atoms and the quantum realm, it's just all base geometry based on each. That's where you start really seeing those platonic solids and the whole grid of life. So everything at its base is all that. I think it's easy to be shuffled off. I mean, there's nothing you can really do with it. You know, it's like I can't really.
Did you notice those
Like,
connections
I
before you
accept
played
it because
with?
therefore I am. But
Did you notice those connections before you played with, like, I know you were a lot younger than me when you started experimenting with like LSD and things like that, but did you make those connections beforehand, or did that kind of open the window for you?
there
to
was
connect
definitely
it?
like an awakening time in my life that like I don't know, to be honest, like my first awakening was like yeah, taking mushrooms, being so mushrooms was one of the big ones. Before that I definitely had a more immature, childish mindset on life. It was like 7th grade.
Mhm.
You know, honestly, like I had a big change like early in my life for sure. So it was like 7th, 8th grade.
You were playing with
started
mushrooms
tripping.
already then?
Yeah, I tripped.
That's crazy, man.
No, it was 8th grade. I tripped when I was in 8th grade. 8th grade. I started smoking weed when I was in 7th grade, and I smoked weed for a year. And then really, I was just so interested in mushrooms. I didn't want to do drugs and shit. Really, I wanted to smoke weed, and it wasn't just about getting high. I wasn't necessarily like spiritual. I wasn't looking for all this spiritual stuff. I just like, I heard of mushrooms, and I heard that like that kind of opened, realizing that that was something that I can like get a hold of now, and that like there was like this like light of spirituality, and at the same time,
Hold on, I gotta
I'm
pause
starting
for a
to
second.
like
I've got an
realize a
important
lot
question.
about watching a lot of stuff about space and shit.
Where did an 8th grader get mushrooms?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, who did you get it from? Like,
I gotta hear that. How does an 8th
Other
grader?
homies. There was like three other kids that smoke weed, and it was from one of my other friends, Kevin, and his older brother.
Older brother. I knew
That's
it
it.
was
Older
gonna be an
brother.
older
So
brother.
Kevin had it, and like Kevin was like, this kid was like 8th grader, but basically she was shorter than I was. He just looked like a little kid, but he like hung out with all like 18+ year olds because it was older brother, and he was cool
Right.
with them all and smoked mad weed with them. And so like, I don't know, he was like a weed cool kid, you know, but like anyone who didn't smoke weed, you know, was just like, he's just like probably a little druggy kid and shit like that. But he was like, Kevin was cool. Kevin, if you're out there, you're a homie. I haven't seen you since 8th grade. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, that's how I got a hold of mushrooms that young. And that was such an amazing trip. I don't even remember like where my thoughts were and exactly what happened with that, but just like starting to realize that things can be so much different in my head, so much different, and had an amazing first trip. And then I don't know, I think those first trips were really introspective. You know, those were like trips I was by myself, not necessarily meditating at that time in my life, but just like by myself, tripping in my room. And I think like 3rd, 4th trip I had was a really bad one, and that would like really showed me like my like child ego, you know.
Jordan wants you guys to watch me forever.
Oh yeah, I'm just watching.
It's
fun.
okay.
Help me get over my child ego a bit, and I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with all
So
that.
what's that like when you say it helped you get over your child ego a little bit? It started helping you see things like through an older lens.
I
Like,
started
tell me what that
looking. I
means.
started looking at like the grand scheme of things, like life, like as a whole, like I don't know, my place in the universe, and like I started focusing more on space and focusing more on like what could be out there and like inside, like what's going on with my mind. Like my mind was so important, and like overcoming my mind. I feel like I was in really dark places, when I was really young in my life, just not because of outside circumstances, just literally my mind being just so innately just like hard to deal with as a young kid. And so I feel like that forced me to a lot of introspection really young. And I think that's probably what led me to wanting to do mushrooms and smoking weed early. So it got me out of like the normal train of thought that everyone else in high school and middle school was thinking. So I don't know, set me off on a different path. And then I just got so interested in space and like National Geographic stuff and like documentaries. And I was just always watching informational stuff. And so like my inspirations were always just coming from like the universe and like what's out there and like the mysteries of the world and like learning about the world. And I just wanted to learn everything about things. And then I started realizing that I was good at art. And I think I drew a picture. I think I was doing bad in school. I ended up going to an alternative school. When I was at this alternative school, I just hated it so much. And like, it was so boring. It was easy, but it was so boring. And I just thought like, I just didn't draw. And so I started drawing, and it was in like ninth grade or something, like ninth, 10th grade or something like that, and realized like, oh shit, I really enjoy this. I can sit here for 3-4 hours and just like draw, and
You
time
didn't
just
grow
flies.
up drawing like that?
I drew like pictures of Dragon Ball Z and like Goku
Heck yeah.
and like Invader Zim and shit like that. I draw little cartoons and
But
like
not to
comic
just
books.
sit and from your own imagination draw until you were in
Not a
ninth
lot.
grade.
I definitely like I was a creative kid. I definitely loved drawing and loved doing stuff. I just didn't take it seriously, as a little kid. Cool, I'm gonna sit down in a notebook in front of the TV and just like sit and draw tonight, or I go out and make forts and shit a lot. But it developed into like a need to draw then when I was at that alternative school. And then I was doing that so much that it made me want to get out of there. And I'm like, shit, I want to like do good shit with this. And so I ended up getting really good grades there, getting sent back to normal high school, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. Did really good the first year. And then I got really into art, took all art classes. And then I pretty much gave up on like English, math, everything, and just took all art classes, and became amazing friends with, developed good relationships with the art teachers there. And so I just sat in the art wing of high school throughout my entire career, and I would basically go home and I'd trip balls all the time, once a week or something when I was in high school. And the rest of the nights I would almost stay up all night just working on art. I'd work on it all day at school, at least like 4 out of like 6 hours that you'd have in a day or something would be sitting in one of the art classes. There was like 3 different teachers that I would just shuffle from if I have different projects. Like in the ceramics, I'd have my ceramic stuff. All my 2-dimensional stuff would be in the 2D class. I had my painting stuff in the painting class. There's 3 different teachers for it all: Miss Kent, Miss McDonald, and Miss Len. And there was Miss B. She was awesome too.
If you're listening.
If you're
Going
listening.
out for the homie.
Holla.
Yeah. And then I failed all those things. Didn't graduate high school because of all that. But I started tattooing right at the end of high school. I got scholarships to go to Kendall and do art classes there. I was going to do fine art before I knew I was doing tattooing. And then I fell in love with tattooing right off the bat. I started like my first senior year.
So you were like, Kendall, who needs you?
Yeah, it was that, and then I didn't graduate, so it wasn't important right off the bat because I was like, I can't go right now. I gotta get my GED or figure out a way to get credits. I'm just gonna continue making money doing this. I already had friends lining up like crazy to get tattooed by me. They shouldn't have, and I shouldn't have been tattooing them. But it got my foot into the tattoo world. Only 18-year-old me.
What is it? Dip and ripping?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dip and
Dip and
ripping
rip.
all your homies?
Dip and rip.
Dip and rip.
Oh man, but I'm thankful for everyone who did that, and then anyone if they ever listen to this, let's touch them up. Or let's fucking cover them up. I'm down.
Bring them to life.
Every tattoo artist out there knows this feeling because they all did the same thing. We all did the same thing, unless you were really special and just went to did everything perfect. Fuck yeah.
There are definitely some tattoos from early in my career where it was like, I mean, I'll do that for you, but I'm not going to post it. Where what I should have done was been like, no, why don't you get a good tattoo? And then educated them of something better that we could do, or a way to make their idea good, rather than being like, I mean, if that's what you want, I'll do it. But like, are you sure?
See, what's really funny is I look at where I'm at and where my mind's at with what I know about tattooing now. And so 10 years ago, when I was 18 and I started tattooing, I thought like shitty tribal tattoos were what tattooing was. I thought like traditional tattoos were what tattooing was. And I thought traditional tattoos looked hard. And I thought tribal tattoos were like the easy ones, something with a simple line work. If I was going to look up tattoos to tattoo on people, then, it was like, shitty tribal tattoos. It'd be like a lion, like a tribal lion, or like a tribal this. And like, so I was like 18. I was good. I was like good at art. I was doing really good, like 2-dimensional things, 3-dimensional stuff. I had the whole thing in high school, about to go to Kendall. And still what I knew about tattooing was so little. And I think it's so funny looking back at like how much I've learned just about what tattooing is now. And so like, what I was capable of and like what I was starting to do then was a product of what I knew about tattooing too. I didn't know anyone who tattooed, and it was just like I didn't have any information about it. And like even as cool stuff that I could have drawn then, I still thought the lowest end of what I thought of what tattooing is to me now was not that traditional tattoos are that. I was saying traditional tattoos are the hard ones, but like low end, tribal tattoos you look up on Google, like those, that's what I thought cool tattooing was then. And so it's just crazy looking at these 18-year-olds who are jumping into tattooing, asking for some tattoos. And it's like, you got to make sure you're asking your, potential clients, like, hey, have you even seen,
Do you know what's possible?
right? Have you even seen like a real portrait or like a real tattoo? Like, you don't have to get this.
Mm-hmm.
Or I see what you're going for here, but have you seen like what we can really do? So it's funny how your own like little box of idea can be one way and can get expanded so much. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It grows. The more you learn, the more you see is possible. Like what was acceptable at day one is no longer like acceptable as the best.
Right.
Like you've just learned so much and like
And like, I don't just feel like I'm not like you look at me and you wouldn't like, you'd expect that like me when I started tattooing or something, I would have had some idea. Like if you would have seen my art back then, and I just have no fucking, I don't know. It can change so much. So even like you really never know where someone's head is and how much they know about something.
how do you think the more you collect tattoos and the more you learn about tattooing, like how has your perception of like an acceptable good tattoo, like
how's it changed over time?
yeah.
It's really similar to Jordan actually, because I don't do art, but I was always interested in getting tattooed from a really, really young age. Like I knew it like 5 or 6 that I was going to be getting tattooed. I don't know how I could tell that young, but I was always just so fascinated by seeing people with them. And I'd always ever seen kind of like you said, like traditional and tribal stuff. And I was always just like, I was like, one day I'm going to have stuff like this. I just know it. Like I also knew I was going to go for full coverage at a really young age, which I also don't know how I could tell, but I was always just like, I want to get covered in this stuff. And like, I started with this like tribal-esque turtle on my leg. And then I started getting traditional stuff. And then kind of through like people that were tattooing me and kind of just on my own, I would start to follow like just more and more people. And then it just snowballed into what I follow now, which is like, every kind of like I try to follow a wide variety of people. Like I still love traditional and like tribal-esque stuff. And then like it got me into, I found out mostly about Adam France first, like then finding out about Adam France got me into the realm of biomech. And then through biomech, I also kind of learned about like portraits and like realism. And I kind of just snowballed me into, I don't want to say everything because I know I don't know about every style or every kind of tattoo, but it definitely widened my funnel.
Like widened your scope.
Like super quick. Yeah. Like it probably took me about a year of getting worked on before I really like fell in. But once I fell in, it was like, I was gone. Like I was lost to the like what can I like what's the next thing? Like what's the new style I don't know about, or who do I not know about yet?
I always like looking at the extreme black work. I've got some ideas for my arms, and if I didn't, man, I would love to have
what my
first piece.
You know what my
I do too.
first tattoo was? Right here.
That was your first one?
It was right here, and it's covered up by what I have. Let's see. People aren't really gonna be able to see it, but right here on my arm it said DK. You know what DK stands for?
Like DK Proline?
What's that?
Is that like a bike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the DK brand of my bike.
Yeah.
Because I used to
DK
BMX,
Proline.
so I got my BMX brand of my bike on my arm.
Nice, Jordan.
I don't advise getting the brand of things on you.
No, I don't either.
I don't care if you're
Maybe I
sponsored
could
or
just
what,
put like
but
Trek across my neck.
Trek, you get the monster sign.
Nah, I was a Trek
just kidding.
girl.
That's not the brand of some. Oh wait, Trek is the brand of something.
We're talking about bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you live the life, if you really live the life, I lived the life back in the day, but still, like, I don't know. Like I have a Grim Reaper with a bike next to it that says Ride or Die on my leg.
That's awesome.
He's holding onto a BMX bike here. You see that?
Oh, hell yeah.
He's got a BMX bike, and he's holding onto a little scythe.
I like that.
Ride or Die.
Ride or Die.
Ah,
That's amazing.
so funny. I really don't BMX much now. I haven't really in years, and that's for the sole reason I would love to. I'm just so afraid of hurting my hands and doing
I got to show you this
anything
little
else.
track
I used
that Corey and I
I used to
found.
fall on my wrists all the time, and like I'm pretty sure I broke this wrist twice. I've had this stuff happen to this one multiple times and never got anything, and so it's always been sensitive ever since. And I just never really got it looked at. And
I
like
had
every
some
time I
good
fall
wipeout
on it, like I'll
skateboarding.
get like months and months of my wrist
Of
being
just being
fucked.
like, yep.
And I do a lot of falling on my bike because I don't know if any you know what flatland. Ever heard of flatland BMX? So basically, like most people are on like 2 wheels
Mhm.
like this. Like flatland would be like 1 wheel, another wheel, be like on your front wheel like that. And while you're on your front wheel, your body's going forward and like the bike's twisting around, doing stuff
What
like
would that be
that.
called? Flatland freestyle?
Yeah, just flatland BMX is kind of like, you know, I think there's like flatland skateboarding too. That's kind of based more along like the manual side and the balance side. And so like this is like all balance, all manualing, all on one tire, or you know, doing tricks that aren't so much in the air as much as just like balancing while swinging your frame around or doing weird twists and turns. But what I'm trying to get at with that is the fact of, so for every one time I would land it, I would fall like
12
like
times.
100 times. 100.
100.
And I still wouldn't land. There's stuff I practiced for 5 years and still never landed. Like, because it's just very difficult. Some people might get the shit down like that, but like, I don't know. Some things clicked, but then some things really just took a lot of just doing it and doing it over and over and over. It's like, oh, I landed it, and then you don't land it again for the next 10 times. Then you finally land it, and then you don't land it for 20 times. Or then you get like 3 times in a row that you landed it. But somehow you just like, until it becomes muscle memory, it just, some things just are so unnatural to the body at first, but they all, it's just like poi
Mhm.
or
You're going to catch your hair on fire 10 times before you learn how not to.
right, that but also the flow side of it. So like I think that's what that kind of BMX is there's all a flow to it. There's a way, there's a balance point, there's a way that the bike's always going to turn around these balance points, and it's really all about circles, you know, the circles of the tires and the circles around. So every like pivot point that you have there is what you're flowing and balancing on. And yeah, until you can get your body to just know exactly where those points are, they're never going to know until they truly like feel the bike as like one part of you. It's like a full extension of yourself. So like when with like a staff, when you're learning the staff, you know, it feels so unnatural until it's like, oh, it's like that.
Mhm.
And that's how it becomes on the bike too. And it's just, you just take all these fundamental things and then you're able to do cool things out of learning all the little fundamental things. But it takes just grinding and grinding and grinding to get those little things down, to get the big things.
I always rode a
Just like
road
all
bike.
art, all things.
But it's like once you get so in tune with your bicycle, you can do reckless things that you're not supposed to do with your bike. Like you're not supposed to jump those off curbs. You're not supposed to like do anything remotely freestyle with a road bike. But you can.
Yeah.
But you can.
Yeah.
I do miss riding. I think this
love
summer I want to
biking.
start kayaking more, and I want to start
I wish I could
cycling
put myself
more.
in danger. I think I should just get like a really good health plan.
Isn't it funny? Do you feel like now that you're tattooed, you're a lot more careful about your body? Like as a kid, I would do
Yeah.
reckless things because it'd be like, oh, it's okay. It'll just be a scar. No big deal. But now it's like, oh, no, I don't want to mess my tattoo work up.
Yeah.
Like I value my own
Yeah.
tattoos
Every
more
time.
than like my own well-being.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel as though my tattoo work could be touched up. Would I worry unless there's like a huge grafting situation that needs to happen or something like that? That'd be a bummer.
Yeah.
But still redoable. But as a tattoo artist, I worry about my hand, my right hand. Literally, that is like my, I don't want to say deep fear, just careful. Got to be careful.
Hands nice, man.
And
Jordan
like,
and I were just talking about our eyeballs.
it's where I do all the
one day
cool
last
things I
week.
do.
Yeah.
You know, if I lost the hand, there's so many things I would lose. I think it's kind of an inevitability. So eventually all this technology needs to lead to robotics, and then they need to learn how to make that AI hand and then the Doc Ock arms.
I was just talking about that the other day. I was like, man, when like cybernetics is a thing, like in Star Wars, like I'm on it. I am so there. I'm so about it.
All day. Have you played Cyberpunk yet?
No, not yet. But I've been hearing.
Have
some
you
good
seen the
stuff.
Mantis blades that they have?
I feel like you
the
two
arm
already
one-
kind
the
of look
arm
like
blades that
characters
come out?
possibly from that game.
Oh yeah,
I feel like you two are both well on your way.
we could be.
Your looks,
Could be.
just
Just
based
upload
on
me
your
into
like
the
body
game.
Based,
art.
I mean, his arm
Based
is.
on
You
your
got
body
now. You
art.
have a cybernetic underlayer
Yeah.
of everything, so you fit right in. I could get a cybernetic augmentation.
It's your cybernetic camouflage.
Yep. I could fit right in.
Have you ever seen Ant? I think Ant Iannucci. You know him. He does a lot of like techno mech bio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of like little cybernetic augmentations and stuff. I always wanted to get some pieces by him. I
For
would
some
really
reason,
like-
I was
would
thinking of a
totally have-
comedian
I've
named
seen-
Ant.
No, yeah.
Not him.
He does. I would love to get like a Technomech throw piece from him. Super cybernetic, but also really organic. Especially just the colors he uses themselves, like the grays mixed with the organic colors, looks super cybernetic and organic. But then the line work style and
I
everything.
think I
it's
just started following this dude recently,
nice.
or just discovered him recently. It's like, I'm like, I would let him do whatever, especially, like you said, then, oh man,
Yeah.
get some crazy, like, robotic, like, piston-y looking.
Yeah.
Adam said hello a few minutes ago on the Instagram.
Ooh, what up?
What's up, homie? Yep. Thanks again, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
Always thanks. So we had a surprise visitor. Did you hear that Adam was in town last week?
Yes, I did. I was so shocked to hear about it.
He
I
was
was
like,
so surprised that I was able to get in with him. I was happy about that.
yeah,
but-
he worked nonstop the whole time he was here, but it was good to have him at the shop. Hopefully he's coming back in the soon future.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I
I'm gonna
look
go out to
forward to
Oregon.
it.
I'm gonna go out to Oregon sometime soon. I'm sure when I do that, you're gonna want to come out too, right?
I mean, should we make it a van road trip and
I
then we
think
can
that's
do
what I'm trying-
episodes all along the way?
I am implying exactly that.
This is the implication that's being
This
implied.
is-
Do
yeah.
it. That sounds
The
awesome.
implication, Fawn.
The
Think
implication.
of the implication.
I can't wait to take our show on the road. And with that device, if I get a SIM card on that thing, we can actually do live shows from the van while we're driving down the highway from the middle of the woods if we've got signal.
Oh,
I'm excited. Our capabilities are growing. If we just keep learning, it's going to get better and better
I think
each
that would
time.
be awesome.
That gets me.
So a few minutes ago, Blade, we were talking about we were talking about when you were a little kid and you used to just imagine yourself fully covered. When I was little, I grew up in a household. My mom and my stepdad didn't have any tattoos.
Mhm.
However, like they totally didn't mind my sister and I drawing all over each other all the time. My mom was always like, it'll wash off, whatever. So like looking back, I should have known, but I didn't. Like I didn't really have a lot of people that I knew until, I was like well into my teens that had any tattoos, especially any good tattoos. How did you have anybody in your family that had a lot of tattoo work that you kind of like looked up to or like always wanted to like?
Kind of. So he passed away before I was born, and it's my dad's brother. But so both my dad and my dad's brother were like hardcore, like 60s, 70s, and 80s, especially 70s and 80s era bikers.
Uh-huh.
And so my uncle had definitely like both his sleeves, and he started working on his chest and like kind of started to get there, and he had a lot of his leg work done. But he passed away like probably like 5 or 6 years before I was born, but there were always pictures of him around all the time. So I always saw this like heavily tattooed guy that looked like my dad. And I was just like, man, like this guy looks really cool. And like, I like this stuff that he's got. Like, even though a lot of it was so hard to tell in photos, because, like photos from the 70s are blurry. And like, so I'm like, I can't tell what it is exactly, but I can just tell he's like very tattooed. And I was like, I like this. And then I don't know if that's because of that, if I started or if my dad started it, but my dad would also always get me temporary tattoos out of like the quarter machines. And anytime I saw one, I was like, Dad, get me some tattoos, please. Like get me as many as you can. Like if you have $10 in quarters in your pocket, get me $10 worth of these. And I would
This is what I want.
I would put them all over my body, like my arms, my stomach. Like I would have, especially my stomach. I had so many temporary tattoos on my stomach. I thought it was the coolest thing. And like, I just always knew, I was like, I want these to be real. Like I want them to be real and permanent. And I think it's funny, like my dad, I don't know if he knew that that's where this was heading, but when I started, he seemed really indifferent about it. But my mom was like, where did this come from? And I'm like, Mom, what do you mean, where did this come from? When I was up till I was like 7 or 8, I had temporary tattoo sleeves on all the time. I would even buy those like fabric sleeve, like as soon as those were a thing, like I would always have like some fake tattoo.
It's awesome.
Since I was like, 8 or 9, couldn't like go get tattooed anywhere for good reason. But like, I always just like, I don't know like what started it, but I think it was always seeing photos of him. And then like, according to that, like my dad would always just tell me like stories about when he would go get tattooed. And like, of course, back then, like,
Does your dad have a lot of tattoos?
my dad only has, I think 2, and he got them not pretty recently, but within the past 10 years.
Ooh, that warmed it up. Nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
like
was
that.
looking at this. I was like,
Nice.
Could use
Yeah.
a candle right there. It'll calm down.
It's roaring.
Oh
Sorry.
my god.
Sorry,
That's
Blade.
no, that's okay. But like he would always tell me some crazy stories about like when my uncle would get tattooed back in the day, because back then like regulation was very loose compared to what it is now. And so my dad would be like, yeah, sometimes I wouldn't see your uncle for like 5 straight days. He would come home and I would go to the shop to look for him just to make sure he was safe. And he would just be like sitting in the chair, like having someone work on his full arm, just like chugging a bottle of whiskey. And then like he'd come home and just like sleep for 6 straight days. And I'm like, wow, I'm like, aside from the whiskey thing, because I was too young to understand, I was like, that sounds like weirdly cool. Like I was like, I just want to start hanging out in shops. And I never did until I was 18 when I got because my parents were like, I think my dad would have let me get tattooed when I was like 16 or 17 if I had a good idea.
Mhm.
But my mom was like, no, not until you're 18. Like you got to be legal and smart about this. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like I can't argue with that in any way. But I like from him telling me stuff like that, I was just like, this sounds cool. Like this just sounds like a fun aspect of life.
So you've just always imagined yourself being
Su-
covered.
yeah, always. Like ever since I was little,
Nice. Nice.
I always knew. And I think it's because of that.
Look at you now.
Yeah, I know. Here I am.
Do you have ideas for your like neck and throat yet?
Yeah. So my neck and throat won't be done probably until like one of the last few things I do, but I would really like to have Guy do all of what, because once my back is done, I'll still have like my full neck. I want him to just do my complete
That'd be a great
360.
choice. Have you seen the neck piece that he did on Rusty?
Yes.
Do you know the one I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Didn't that turn out beautiful?
Yeah, I was helping him build their shop, actually, some
Uh-huh.
furniture for Hollow Earth. And
Nice.
he was talking to me about it. He's like, yeah, he's like, I did my neck. And I was like, I don't want that exactly, but like, I was like, something like that is exactly what I've been picturing from him.
Yeah. I
I-
don't know.
Kind of want it to pop, like, I don't want it to go up onto my face, but I want it to like almost just border my like my jawline
Mhm.
and my chin. Like I definitely want my chin.
So you
Right.
want to go like all the way.
Yeah,
up
like
there.
I want it to be a whole thing. And I think that, I know Guy would do some crazy
Oh
stuff
my
with
God,
that.
just
Like,
some glowing fucking nasty center. Just some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's,
Like, I-
it's like the worst way to describe it for
especially,
someone
like-
who's not looking at our hand movements. but
Especially something coming
just
up out of
oh man.
Adam's.
Yeah,
face.
like-
he's got it set up in just the perfect way to
Ooh.
have a whole
Exact-
life form come
Yep.
up out of it.
I can't wait to show. We definitely need to get some good shots. I know we put the pictures up before, but we're gonna get some good video of your tattoos near the end. So y'all gotta hang around.
yeah.
We get to make Blade take off his clothes.
Yep.
It'll be like at the
Yep.
massage therapist. They'll be like, disrobe to your comfort level.
Mhm.
And then we'll
Alright.
just get in close with the camera. It'll be great.
I want to get some
It'll be our new
good
shtick.
healed shots of my back as well.
Mhm.
So a couple of people were commenting last time they wanted to see my piece and we didn't.
Yeah, I want to see your back healed because I saw it fresh, but I bet healed looks.
I never get a chance to see it. I can't even see it in my own mirrors, and I can't.
know
even
what we
take a
need to
picture of
do
my own
after your
back, so I
back
can
is
only go back
finished?
and look at the fresh photos. I can kind of see a portion of it when I look behind me. I almost want to set up a mirror situation in my house just so I can see it, but
After your back is totally finished, or
almost like just
the upper
once
portion.
in a while peeking. What say that?
we should do
What?
a tattoo hot tub party over at Derb's. Set up cameras around the hot tub and actually like show our tatties off. I always have clothes on.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible host of this show. I always have clothes on. What would you do if I just walked up
Overdressed.
in like a bikini?
We walked up in
Like a bikini and flip flops one day. Here I am.
Because you're fully tattooed, I think it'd be fully acceptable.
I feel like it'd be acceptable for the show, but how out of character would it
That
be?
would be, yeah, I would do a double take. I'd be like, what?
It's as out of pocket as I can imagine.
I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, if you ever see me in leggings like at the shop, it's a cry for help. Like those are pajamas. I'm not
Those
gonna
are
wear those to work. Like you'll see me in sweatpants, but not leggings. Like I'd come over here in leggings, but this is like 2 blocks from my house. I come here in slippers,
Yeah.
but I'd never go to like work or in public in leggings. I mean, I'm not knocking women that do. It's a me thing. It's a
I
me
can't-
thing. It's
out of
not. It's
pocket.
nothing.
Out of pocket.
Yeah,
I'm
it'd
not
be
afraid
weird.
I'm not afraid of people going out of pocket though. Sometimes something it's just nice to do.
Sometimes I feel like if
'cause
my
I don't
jeans
wanna
are a
get
little
negative
too
I don't
tight,
want to
it's
get
like
negative
fun.
reactions when I am
What's
out
up?
of pocket.
Are you
Sometimes it's
okay?
nice just
I-
to be out of
I see your
pocket, just to
curves.
be
What
like,
happened?
what? Quit having pre-assumptions about me. Like, you know me. Don't act like you know me too well.
You
It's
don't,
like,
you
I
don't
can
know me.
I can be this today. I might be something else tomorrow. Do
That's-
whatever I want.
It's like that for me at
I
work.
wear
but almost
leggings
the
today.
opposite way.
I might wear no pants tomorrow.
I might wear
Like,
no pants. It's like the opposite for me at my job because I'm usually like, I mean, like right now I'm wearing a tank top. When I can, I wear a tank top and shorts at work all the time. And then occasionally I'll wear like, especially in the winter, I'll wear like pants and then a flannel. And everyone's like, Blade, why are you wearing a flannel? Like the number one thing I hear when I'm wearing like a really nice flannel, they're like, are you going to a funeral today? And I'm like, no, I just wanted to wear a flannel today. Like, is it
I
okay?
was chilly.
Like I
What?
just wanted to wear something nice and different. Like what's the look about?
right. If I want
I
to come,
feel like
if I
it's
want to
kinda
come
like
to
that
work
if
in
I
a
wear
whole
my hair
camo
down.
jumpsuit, I don't want to be
Like some-
looked at
yeah,
weird.
some days I just don't want to be seen.
I just want to
Like,
blend in. I'm just trying to blend in.
Never in your life.
Never in your life.
I just wanted to blend in.
just
Never.
wanna
Those
blend in.
words never came out of Jordan's mouth.
I can't even do that anymore. I'd have to grow out my hair and like
Back
wear
in-
gloves.
Shrink a few inches.
Yeah, like I
Back in high school, I used to make dream catcher necklaces.
Oh, nice.
The one I made was like this big. So I'd like just fucking exactly that. Not blending in.
Never blending.
The only
in.
person wearing a giant dream
I
catcher. on their
sometimes
chest.
forget. Like, so like we're surrounded by like our tattooed friends all the time. Blade, you've got a lot of heavily tattooed friends, right?
Mhm.
You're not.
Oh, yeah.
They're not the token tattooed guy. Like you're surrounded by tattooed people, right?
a lot of my I'm definitely, aside from one other friend I have, I'm the most tattooed of most people I know, but I do have a lot of friends that have at least some good amount of work, so I'm definitely not always like
Are you ever in a
odd one.
situation where you forget how you look? Where you forget that you
Every
look
ti- every
extremely
day.
different?
like almost every day I'm anywhere, especially like when I go to the grocery store. My best friend was just talking to me about this recently, where like she loves going to the grocery store with me because like people are always just like, whoa, that guy is like extremely tattooed, and you don't see like I don't see me at the grocery store ever. Like I never see somebody like me at the grocery store.
Unless we ran into
Yeah, unless
each
we
other.
run into each other, and I'm like, oh sweet. But usually like I'm the one, and then I forget, and then I'm like, why the fuck is everyone staring at me? Like, what is this? And my friend's like, Blade, your whole head is tattooed and you're really tall. And like usually if I'm wearing like stuff like this, they're like, you just are ink. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Cause like at this point, I'm so used to it that I don't think anything about it
I
anymore.
forget
I'm not
sometimes.
like, oh yeah, I'm tattooed, whatever. I'm usually like, why the fuck is everyone looking at me so much?
Right.
And you're
Right.
like-
Now imagine when you get the throat piece.
Oh, I know. That's going to be a whole,
It's your new eyeball.
that'll be
One
a
of my
nightmare.
favorite
It's all right
things-
though. I can't wait. I can't wait to see everyone's eye just go like
Go,
right to my throat and then go like up. So it's just like
you're like,
always got that.
He's always gonna be
movement.
have people looking at him throat level. Like he'll be like, "Hey, my eyes are
people
up here."
already at, yeah, they're already at throat
Eyes
like,
level.
are up
like
here.
you have to bend your neck, look
They're
up at me.
already going up like this, and then it's just like
You know what would be funny is if you put eyeballs on your chin.
I actually really want eyes on my chin. I've always like at least one like gross
dragon
eyeball.
eye?
Yeah, some
That
kind of
would
like
be
what's on my
rad.
head.
That would be really rad. I'm partial to dragon eyes.
ah, look at. This is how close we just got that blunt pass.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
No.
That is amazing.
These cameras are excellent.
That's
The passing of the
really
blunt.
funny. That's really funny.
I like putting I shouldn't say I like putting myself in situations like that, but I put myself in situations like that all the time, and I'll totally forget like I'm the odd one out. Like
Mhm.
if I go to the barber, usually I'm the only white person there, the only one that's tattooed from head to toe. And like I love interacting with people like that. Like I love when they make weird eye contact with me and they're like looking me up and down. Like I make it a point to like make kind
Like-
eye contact with them. Like, yep, go ahead. It's
like,
cool.
like you're allowed.
Yep. Or I'll like pull up a sleeve or a pant leg and like whatever. But my favorite thing is interacting with little kids, like being that like tattooed weirdo stranger. In my case, I've
Yes.
got dreads. In your case, you've got like shaved head tattoos. But like I love interacting with kids. I love like encouraging them to ask questions. I love like, you know, a lot of times it'll take like an interaction with the parent and then I'll talk to
Mhm.
the kids. But like I don't know, I love interacting with kids when I'm the weirdo in the room, when they're like curious about me and
I
I'm
love
the
it.
one that looks totally different from everybody else.
Because kids love it in like because they're kids and they're like, this is, especially if it's like a lot of my stuff so bright, they're like, wow, like this dude is just so bright and colorful. I have to go like
Right, kids are always
go
just so
stare at him
awestruck.
because I don't know what this is. Like,
I love every kid just like looks past. If I got my tattoo showing, you
Mhm.
know, if I don't,
I'm like,
you know,
wow,
nothing.
like what is this?
I do
Like,
like, because I mean, imagine like you might be the first tattooed person that kid ever seen, and they're just like, whoa, people
like, oh my gosh, what is that?
can look a lot different.
Yeah, I've my niece and nephew are that way now. Where like I see them pretty often, and she's always up to date on my work, and like she'll know when I'm going to the shop, and then like next time I see her, she's like, Uncle Blade, how's your new tattoo? And I'll show her, and then sometimes she'll forget about it, and she'll like when this was still kind of healing.
How old is she?
She's 3.5.
Okay.
And my nephew's about 3. And sometimes she'll forget, and she'll just like I was helping her. I was putting something together recently, and she put her hand on my shoulder, and it was still, I mean, it was pretty much healed, but it was also still a little weird. And I was like, her name's Lacey. I was like, Lacey, I was like, can you not touch it for a minute? She's like, oh, right. And just gets all like nervous about it. And then I know she also tells other people when I'm not around, just that I'm tattooed. And I think it's so funny to hear because like,
Do you ever let her color your tattoos?
I haven't yet. I'll probably let her do it with this now that it's pretty much healed, but I usually
When-
get worked on so quickly that like,
When part of my leg was an outline, I used to let my nephew color it in with markers. I've got a few pictures of it.
I should
where
let her do
it's
that
like,
with my head, like the geometric piece.
Oh yeah, like some Crayolas.
Yeah,
Wash
whatever.
right off. It's so much fun too.
I should let her do that. Yeah, they're fun. And it's so funny because my nephew he just turned 3 and he's autistic, but he's also like pretty vocal and like really into things. And he loves my tattoos. He especially loves my pizza one. He'll like, these are like his 2 favorite of mine, my little demon and my pizza. And he'll like walk up to it and he's like, pizza? I'm like, yeah. And then this one, I'm trying to not teach him the word demon yet since he's like 3. I don't want to be like that bad of an influence. And so he'll just poke at it. And I'm like, let's look at the pizza one again. I'm like, stop looking at this one for now. Like, let's deviate away. But he's like, he loves this one. And I think it's because his favorite color might be red.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, I'm like, yes, that's the dragon. Like, we'll just call it a dragon for
Mhm.
now. And he's like, dragon? And I'm like, yes.
I've got a 3-year-old niece and I love every time I hold her. Since she was little, she's done this, but she like traces the lines on either side of my head. Like that's my favorite thing that she does.
Yeah, she loves, because usually I'll stay there and I'll be shirtless. She loves my Adam France piece. She's always like, she just doesn't know what to do with it because it's so much. But she loves just like,
pull your collar down.
yeah, she'll like pull my collar and she just traces, like she's traced one of these hooks before. Like she always loves to just like,
Yep.
She also, I think she's just like, why don't they go away? Like what, like, why do you have like, because, you know, she'll get temporary ones or she'll draw on herself and then they go away. And she's like, why do Uncle Blades not go away? Like, what's up with this? Like, how has he figured it out? And I think it's so funny.
So my nephew Sam, when I still had my shop in Marion, he was old enough that he would come and hang out. Like he'd just chill with me for hours. I had like toys in the waiting room for him. And so he's been around tattooing since he could walk. So he knows the process. Like he's actually been like a little germaphobe because we taught him like about germs really little. So he knew what he wasn't and wasn't allowed to touch. So my nieces, I guess, fortunately or unfortunately, haven't really had the chance to be around the shop as much, but they've definitely been around me healing. So it's really cool to see like they know and they've like asked me what it feels like. They ask like, does it hurt? How'd it get in there? And I'll like tell them it feels like a sunburn. And you know, they're little blonde toe heads, so they get sunburned really easy. So they like as soon as I say sunburn, they're like, they handle me very
They're like,
gently. And so
yeah, for me, I just have to tell her, I'm like, I have a boo-boo, okay? And she's like as soon as I say I have a boo-boo, she's like,
well, if you let them gently
Oh,
touch
and-
it and they just feel that it's not the same,
Yeah, they can
usually
tell.
understand.
I haven't let her, which I wouldn't anyway, but she, well, last time I saw her with my armpit, she was like, I was like, be careful. I was like, this one's really serious. Like, this one's really major. Like, if you bump into it, I'm going to have
You
a
just
problem.
like slow motion everything.
Yeah, like, and, like, I've like, I can't pick you up today. I'm sorry. Like, because, you know, that stretching is so terrible. So I'm like, I can't pick you up today, but like, next time I got you. And then next time you can see it and you can look at it. And she's like, okay. And she loves, I just bought her a bunch of temporary tattoos too. And every time she gets them, she's like so excited. She loves them.
I love playing with the fake tattoos with kids. Our buddy Ben Thomas, he's been on. His little girl, she had me put some temporary tattoos on a few days ago when I was over there, so that was kind of fun. We ask her all the time what kind of tattoos she's gonna have. It's fun having those conversations and hearing how the answer changes like every week.
She does the same. My niece does the same thing where she'll tell me like what she wants, and she really likes the show Avatar: The Last Airbender because we watched that show, and she's like, I want. She's one of the main characters' name's Aang. She's like, I want Aang on my belly, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, you're going for
Is
it,
he
kid.
the one with the arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just be like, give me that arrow.
She's
homie.
like, I want Aang on my belly and on my arm, and I'm like, man, you're really going for it, kid. Like, good job. I love it.
That's awesome.
Now my nephew, he's almost 12. I'll ask him, and his, he usually says I don't know, but now my question is turned into, if you got tattoos, what would you get? Because if I ask him, do you want tattoos, he'll just be like, meh, I don't know, my dad hates them. So now my question is, if you got tattoos, what would you get? And like the art and stuff that he shows me is like fantasy circuit board kind of stuff.
Oh,
like
yes.
It's super futuristic sci-fi kind of like, he's got like a very technology bio-y robotic kind of imagination. So
That's awesome.
I do wonder, like, if and when the kids in my life get tattooed, what are they going to do? Like, will they have learned from me, or are they going to rush out and get tattooed just because they can? Are they going to be patient and like plan out an entire bodysuit and wait till they're like 30 to start it? Like, I wonder how influenced they're going to be to like know what's possible after knowing me. Or are they never going to get tattooed just because they know they could get tattooed and they would rather collect other things?
Right. Well, whatever they do, you're introducing them to a realm of art at a very young age that's I never seen when I was that young, and I was never introduced to. And so whether they choose to or not, they might share that with other kids, and other kids might end up being, the tattooers that are going to be the next generation that are taking off from techniques that are just fucking absolutely amazing.
Younger sister,
or maybe other
Sarah,
things that aren't tattooing, but just like showing what art can be and showing how hard some people work to do something like that is really inspiring to other people, and even probably kids. I mean, I think that's when at a young age, that's what inspired me so much, is seeing like, holy shit, it's possible. That means no matter what, I can do it. So like being like, oh, I know I'm not this good at that right now, but no matter, if I just throw my entire life at it, well, eventually I'll be fucking awesome at it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did with art. I was like, if I just keep doing it, I suck right now, but if I just keep doing it and keep doing it, and I love doing it, and I just love the process, eventually I'll be good regardless. And if I'm not, I had a good time doing it because I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Yeah. As a collector, when did you realize you were going to have a full body suit?
I mean, I
When
think
did you realize you were gonna be
as
covered?
as soon as I like knew I could, I think I knew I was like, as soon as I could tattoo, I like realized about tattoo, I knew I was going to be covered, but I think I knew that I didn't know about real tattooing yet. I think I still I didn't imagine a full bodysuit at that time, but I still feel like I knew that eventually I was going to be fully tattooed.
Does
But I
anybody in
think-
your family have tattoos?
So that thought was always there. Not really. No. And everyone who does has I have tattooed some people in my family, like some of the younger people and cousins and aunts and uncles that ended up getting pretty cool pieces. But for the most part, like my mom and my dad just have little tattoos, and my dad likes his little tiny tattoos. He's got, my mom just she got a old band, a vine, it wasn't the worst, vine from just probably, I don't know, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And she just hated it and hates it. And it's such a point of self-consciousness. And I'm like, Mom, it really doesn't look that bad at all. And so eventually we're going to cover it up with something and surprise her with something. She said she's open to a lot, but at the same time, she's just funny about it.
Do you have any other family members currently that are heavily tattooed?
No, I'm definitely the only one, especially in my family. I'm the major oddball out on that. I have as much as I do. My dad's got the 2, 3, depending on how you count them, what they are. My mom has 1. I know one of my aunts has 1 and she hates it. And similarly, I've seen it and I don't think it looks that bad, but she's like, I hate it. I think it's stupid. And I'm like, well, whatever. Like it's also like kind of on her like upper hip, but I'm like, good thing it's there if you really hate it, because no one's ever going to see it. But otherwise, none of my family really have any work at all, but they all like mine for the most part. They also just don't know why I do it to the extent that I do, because they're like, why do you do your head and like all this stuff? And I'm like, I can't explain it in like a logical way that makes
I
sense
just
to you.
imagine
it's
it
just,
there. I don't
it's
know.
just what I want, and that's the real answer.
When did you know you were going to want a bodysuit, Fawn?
Oh man, probably sometime close to completing my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it was like, I'm going to be covered. I don't know when the specific moment was.
Yeah.
But like for my little sister, when we first started talking about her Land Before Time tattoo, she's the first person that I was ever like, how covered are you going to be? Because I was getting to that point with some of my collectors where like, if I would have known you were going to get this covered in tattoos, we would have planned this totally differently. Like we could have, like if I would have known that you were going to go 2 sleeves and a back piece, or if I would have known that like this was going to be like we could have planned this whole thing differently. So we started talking about her tattoo, and my question with her was like, how covered are you going to be? And like, how much do you want to talk about this? And are you going to like, is this going to be a movie and a story you share with your kids and things like that? And she's like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, I'm going to be covered. Like, I'm going to be covered like you are, like everything but my neck and face. And I was like, okay. So like, I want to see, she was only like 18 or 19 when we started her Land Before Time piece. And it went from like, I just want this on my hip or leg to, well, let's make it like your whole side and leg. Like it's big. And I mean, we're still working on it. I can see how that
progression, like it's really awesome to see that piece too, because it just, it all flows together so well. And I can, it's from one idea to the next idea, and like, let's put this in here, and now let's go to this one. And I'm not going to say, like, you can't tell that it started like that. It looks like it was a fully planned type thing.
Once we decided to do that, we did plan it all the way down. Like we've got like a ballpark plan of how all the scenes are going to fall all the way to her foot. But it was like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it.
Right.
But I feel really good that like, me learning what I've learned, I've got some cousins who are older than I am that have like haphazard tattoos, and I've got some cousins that have really good tattoos. Nobody's covered to the extent of me. My older brother's got a lot of work, but it's like he's got a lot of like black work and like things that were outlined and not finished. And but like I'm the only one that's covered like this, and I forget sometimes. But
I don't mind.
But I am proud that it seems like, at least for my sister, I've been a good enough influence that she is considering her entire body. And she's got one arm that she's using for her like collection of small pieces, but everything else is going to be huge full limb or full back pieces.
I can't wait till my brother, can't wait till they want to start getting into tattoos. One of them just turned 18. And the other one's he's like 12. So when they get old enough, man, I just want to tattoo them up.
Covered.
And they're clean. I want to help them bypass their other ideas.
Teach them about
Caden's
hashtag team no cover up.
18-year-old Caden, he's come to me with a couple ideas, and I think they're good ideas, but I'm trying to talk him into bigger real estate instead of what he's thinking.
That's where you can be like, this is the
pieces.
start of a great idea, but what can it be more of? That's one thing I talk about with my clients
when I see him next,
now.
When I go back to Michigan, I'm going to sit down with him and really like talk to him and show him about lots of stuff and just kind of like blow his mind with art. Because I don't think he's had the real
that
taste.
biomech encyclopedia and just open it in front of him. Be like, fan through this. I'll be back in 2 hours.
Exactly.
And then we'll talk.
Oh my gosh, that book.
Yeah, that's what I love, showing people that book and just blowing their minds with like, okay, oh, you're waiting while I'm doing this thing. Okay, here, we'll take this book and look at it right now.
Just stare at it forever.
Yep. I'm like, oh my God, I never knew tattooing could be like that. I'm like, oh yeah. Now you know.
Now you know.
I love it. I love bio tattooing. I love how many things it can be. Of course, I love every kind of tattooing, but just such deep love. I feel like we can really set aside a lot of this show to that.
I mean,
what's your favorite thing about bio?
My favorite thing about bio,
Like let's just get on a roll here about this. I want to talk about bio.
Okay.
like my favorite thing about my bio, or bio that just
I don't
pulls my
know.
trigger, or like a bio in general.
So let's start with a more
I like
a more directed
Okay,
question.
let
Like,
me-
what's your favorite thing of like? Oh no, what makes good bio? Like, what would make a good bio like piece?
I figured it out
Like
in
3
one
rules.
word. My favorite thing about bio is transformation.
Yes.
If I
like
could
that.
give you one word
Okay.
that is my favorite thing about bio, it's taking one thing and transforming it into something else. Now, whatever you're transforming it into, that may or may not be my taste. But if you are successfully like taking a body part and either transforming it into a robotic something, or an organic space, or a functional energy force field, or any functional thing, when you take this and transform it into anything other than what it should be, that's what really pulls my trigger about bio.
Do you think believability is important? Or do you
Well,
think?
yeah,
Or do you
that's, I
think?
guess
Or
that
do you
would be
think?
part of the
or do you-
successful
Well,
transformation.
or do you think that like, because there's so many different styles of bio, and there are some that are more like traditional based almost. That
yeah,
almost
if
look
you
more.
can
That
believe
almost
it
look.
exists,
I think to me, I do think I'm kind of going back and forth in my head and think about some of these more like simpler things of bio, but I'm also thinking those are the ones I don't like the most, or the ones that are the most two-dimensional, you know, the most attempted, but don't
Mhm.
get it there. And I think, you know, that's because they're not believable. That's, you know,
the
what makes a good
structure's
what
off
makes
somewhere,
a
the
good
flow is
bio,
off somewhere.
even good biomech and bioorganic, you know, is how light hits an object, you know, the believability of how light hits something. So how well you're able to,
Mhm.
you know, manipulate light.
One of the words I think you're looking for, this doesn't apply to all tattoos, but like when something is tactile, when you think that you could actually touch it and feel what it is, when it gives you the impression that you could feel it, that's when it's that like tactile, that like you're getting other senses involved
totally.
that make you believe it even more. Like if it looks shiny, or it looks furry, or it looks hot or cold,
Right.
when you
If it
get
can
like a
stimulate a
tactile
sense,
sense,
even
to
like
it,
even warm and cool is a sense, you know.
sometimes like if you could like look at something and imagine, like sometimes like say I'm working on a nature scene and it's like a meadow opening up with trees around it, I want you to imagine like the smell of dew.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I want you to
So if it has-
imagine like the smell
So
of
it has
leaves
sensory.
and dew.
It has some sort of sensory input, some sort of
Yes.
synesthetic quality.
Yeah, and maybe that's the believability effect, but like I think it's just having those tactile extras in there, the feel. But
Yeah. Textures are a big one. I think, I mean, textures like one of the biggest things. So that comes with that. So like how you can feel it, what that feel is going to feel like. So what, you know, how well textures are placed. There's so many different kinds though. So
Mhm.
then you got a huge variety there. You got smooth textures, bumpy textures,
is it
Rough
underwater or
textures.
is it in a space?
right? Slimy textures, smooth but matte textures that are not quite slimy,
Rusty,
cheesy,
Gross.
moon-like,
gross,
Wooden.
disgusting.
Yeah.
disgusting,
Disgust.
right? Beautiful, heavenly, delicious.
Insect skeleton.
Right? Insect skeleton like mantis, like a mantis if it ate an orchid while a mantis is eating an orchid. Replicates life. I like that. I like all those things.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you like about bio? If there's anything you could put into words at all.
That's definitely hardest, really, what to put into words. But one thing I really like is how overarching the style, which I know you can say this about almost any style, but I really like how overarching it could be, because like within the realm of like, kind of like you said, biomech, bioorganic, there's so many different things that like, because if you just went to anybody and you were like, I want a biomech tattoo, like if you went to Red Tree and said, I want to draw me a biomech thing, you would get like
10
Each-
different
you would-
versions.
10 different, completely different things that like nothing was like the last. And it's one thing I like how we were talking about, I think Jesse Levitt earlier, how his is like more horror and like scary. It's kind of similar with Nathan's, like his stuff is scary, but then like Adam's stuff can, I mean, he can do some scary stuff. I've seen it, but also his stuff can be like
It's always bright.
bright.
It's always so
Some
bright.
people do like more like ornamental, like ornate biomech that's more like, I'm not filigree, but filigree
Scroll
type
work.
stuff, scroll work, that type of thing. There's so many different things it
Yeah.
can be that you can really just, there's so much like wiggle
It's so
room for
cool.
what you can do.
And that, I feel like that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier with like, every person has got like their way of like tapering the way that they see the world and the universe and everything. And so everyone and every piece of those, every kind of art and every kind of bio piece is so drastically different from each other. And they're so dependent on, you know, a different artist's creativity. Like you can't just like sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to create an Aaron Kane piece. Oh, I'm going to sit down and create a Guy piece. Like it takes a lot to do each one of those. And all of that is like such a representation of who they are, the things that they learn, the interests that they have, the kind of textures in life that they like, the kind of organisms that they're interested in, the kind of colors, you know, the kind of feelings that they apply towards colors. And so that's why I love bio. It's such a representation. It's like everybody takes the chaos of all this sensory input that we have in life. And so like, you know, I take all the sensory input that I have and just focus it into the kind of work and maybe the bio or the paintings that I do. And it's a representation of my little view of the universe and of the world, or, you know, the things that I'm interested in. In every artist, it's the same. So I mean, you can say that about all art, but I love that with bio art because it's such a representation of the things around them. And you can say that again about all art.
Yeah. Oh, well,
But
I mean,
it's my interested interpretation.
Our eyes and our imaginations are drawn to different things depending on like what we're surrounded by, what we're into. You know, if I've been in the woods nonstop for the last 3 weeks, I'm going to be daydreaming about things totally differently than if I've been like staring at circuit boards and rebuilding
it makes your experiences matter
something.
so much more too, and it makes life so much more fun as an artist because it makes everything you do just kind of matter a little bit more. Not matter, but like, I don't know, it's almost like registering it into the data banks and then putting it in and then putting it into your art.
Yeah, I call it like my visual
library. If there was any
library.
sort of meaning for life in my idea, it would be for us, or like a reason for humans to be here. In most life, it'd just be, or life in general, it would be for like the universe to recognize itself. It's like the only way for the universe to see that of like what it's created and what it's done. And so we're doing that. We're like showing exactly what the pinnacle of evolution and human mind can do.
The pinnacle of evolution
Think
and
about
the
it. We
human
are
mind.
right at the tip, right at
That's it.
the tippy tip. Like
tippy
the fact
tip
that,
of the
think about what a
pinnacle.
monkey's capable of and what all, like it took evolution so far to get to monkey stats. And so like now, now look at people, and where in that time is such a huge jump to like where our intelligence is, and we're creating to be able to put pieces together to create a painting. The amount of thought sometimes that it takes to do that, and the amount of like little things and then registering, you know, life takes it's a pretty weird thing to be able to just like register life and recreate it into like a thing. Like that's a crazy evolutionary thing when you look at it like a life scale. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
It does. That's the all of it.
So it makes it so fucking special.
that's
Makes it so fucking
that's the all
special.
of it. That's it.
It's so crazy. It's so fucking wild that art can even exist, but it's definitely a representation of. It's a means for the universe to see itself. Is all. I love it. That's enough to live for. Just make art. Make art about it. I don't know.
Yep.
Make things about it. Be creative. Let the creativity be that. I feel like most things will just come for you.
Wait,
If
do you make any art?
follow some sort of path like that.
Very rarely.
Do you make any music?
Sometimes, yeah, I used to, and I don't do it as much as I used to, but I was definitely more into music.
That counts as art. to
Very
me.
much into percussion.
Just as much.
Yeah, which I
Just as
still
much.
dabble
Painting
in
with sound,
percussion,
man.
even on my desk. Like, I can't not like tap all the time.
So why haven't you come to jam with us with our noisemakers at the shop?
I never know about it.
Right?
Time.
Because he hasn't been invited. We got to invite him.
You're invited.
All right,
Come to the shop and make noise with us.
will do.
It's always at very random times,
Yeah, that's-
so we will definitely invite
Last
you.
time I was there, I was messing around with the conga drums. That was fun.
Yeah.
I did like the conga drums.
I got a stand for my djembe now, so now
Oh,
you can just
really?
dig it in. It's nice.
Okay,
and,
I'm
It's
in.
nice and heavy and deep.
I'm
Yep.
there.
The strap's cool, but it's really like that's a big drum to wear unless
it's
you're like
uncomfortable,
ready
like-
to walk
If you ever want
around
to
in
paint
it
or
and
do
the
something
thing.
creative, when we got paint nights and stuff, you're always welcome to
Oh,
come,
cool.
come hang out and stuff.
Last
And
time we had an art night, we
Even if you
ended
just
up
want to
like
come hang out, I mean, just like put a canvas in front of you and just
we actually
paint
kind
with,
of
pretend to
serenaded
paint with
Dirk
water. You can
while
just
he
kind of come
painted.
hang out. We always enjoy more people the merrier. We're always trying to get quite a few people there when we're doing it.
Cool. I'll definitely come. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Derb was like, we gotta paint. So we all get together. I can't remember what we were doing, but afterwards we were doing like art night, and we had Dante was there.
We need more art nights. Every time I'm like, Derb, we should do this once a month. He's like, I'm like, that's not that
Well,
hard
if we
to do
start
once a
doing this
month."
art battle thing that he's talking about, I feel like that could be the motivation to have a
Does he
shop
want to make it a
art
regular
night.
thing or a one-time thing?
Oh, a regular thing.
That's dope.
Yeah. So it'd be like us versus them, like on a regular basis.
So let's talk about that. So what have you guys talked about on that? We haven't went too much into detail.
It was just
What's he trying to do?
like a 3 to 6 minute conversation where he threw the idea out there, and he was like, I'm still working on the idea, but
Should we keep
but I
it-
was like,
should
I
we
told
keep it
him
on
I
the
was
wraps?
down, whatever. It's gonna be like a collaborative. So it'll basically be 2 artists from one shop, 2 artists from another shop, and then we'll be Skyping in together or Zooming in together for like 2 or 3 hours, like a reasonable amount of time to actually finish like a little painting, and then put them up and
So 2 people will do
critique
that.
them. Yeah.
Nice. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it's going to be something where they're like posted and critiqued like battle style, or if it's something where they'll like be auctioned off. I'm not sure. It, like I said, it sounds like it's in like the developmental phases of an idea, but I told him I was definitely
battle
down.
style.
I
To
like
the
that.
death.
Jordan and I
To
have
the
done- Jordan, weapons ready.
right.
Paintbrush.
Winner keeps all.
So we finally have that little
Keeps your
shrimp knee
soul.
painting finished. I finally popped those Razorlight in that one. So both of the collaborative, those big pieces that we started last year, are finished. We just got
That's
to clear the one and
awesome.
hang it.
Oh,
So-
really?
Great.
So we have a good advantage.
Put a coat of Varney.
We
Need
got a
coat of
good
Varney on there.
advantage.
Good advantage of what?
If it's a collaboration battle, we've already like stretched and warmed up.
Oh, we're gonna
and-
collab. Like 2 people are gonna collab on the paintings, and 2 people are gonna collab.
Yeah.
Oh, so the collab battle.
Yeah,
there we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
All the pieces come together now.
Yeah, now you see why Derb wants us to do this.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. We collab really well, so it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, we do.
I've been
I
stoked
feel
for our
like
next
we learn a
collab,
lot
but I
from
feel
each
like
other.
we couldn't do anything else until we finish shrimp. Knee.
Yeah,
I'm
shrimp
glad
knee's
that's
done.
now.
We could get that one out that me, you, Derb, and Toby started, and just start noodling away on that as our in between at the shop, and start some small ones that we can finish reasonably.
I think we can turn that one into something pretty dope pretty quick. I think
I
what we
think
should
so.
do, I think we should do a couple big glazes over the entire thing and unify all the colors on it. We can get into that at some other time. But it's got like the green up there, and then it's like blue down here, but that like it's like nuclear green up there. We start getting it a little bit more realistic
Mhm.
instead of like bright bold green.
Yeah,
I don't remember where it's at right now, or like if that green's still there, or if we've done stuff like that to them. But
it definitely needs all the colors married together. There's
unimportant
still-
to our
there's-
listeners at this time.
There's still gray stuff in there. If you're an art nerd, it kind of makes sense. If you're not an art nerd, you're like these stoners.
Oh, okay.
So Blade, you got anything? You got anything crazy coming up?
Not tattoo wise. I've got a couple sessions with Kevin coming up. As far as other body mods, though, I am in June for my birthday. I'm gonna get my tongue split, which I know isn't tattoo related, but it's still
It is.
it's still a
That still
thing.
counts.
It's still a thing.
I gotta
I'm
pee
gonna do
real
that
quick,
in
guys.
June. No worries. I'm gonna get that done in June.
Who's doing it for you?
His name is Sean O'Hare, and he travels around pretty frequently. I know he's in the Cleveland-ish area in February, and I hit him up for June because he's going to be back in Cleveland in June. And he was like, "Do you want to do February or June?" And I was like, "Let's definitely do June. Like, let me get some time to like mentally prepare myself for whatever that's going to be like, because I don't know really what to. I've talked to people who have their tongue splits, but I just don't really know. Like,
Do you have it pierced?
no,
No?
not at all. So
Oh, I feel like it's gonna be so hard to learn how to talk again.
I've had friends that have it, and they said that getting it, I mean, they said getting it sucks. Like, it's not an easy thing to do, but they said it's like one of those things, like for me, how my brand was, healing it was harder than the getting it. I've heard a lot that healing it is harder than the actual getting it done, which I can expect. I mean, because
I mean, you're cutting
your
into
tongue's
a pretty
going to be swollen for
special
like
muscle.
a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that being not so fun. He told me Like I know the way he does it, and I think the way that most people do it is they start in the back and go forward, which is not how I ever thought it was done, but that makes a lot of sense. And I know he stitches down the sides of the tongue to help keep it separated. I don't know if a lot of people do that. I don't know enough about it at all, but definitely doesn't seem pleasant in any way. But it's also something I've wanted for quite a long time as well. Definitely not as young as me knowing like I wanted tattoos, but I feel like I've wanted my tongue split since I was probably like 17 or 18.
I definitely plan on getting my tongue split.
Like it just seems.
So I
don't know.
missed out parts that I really wanted to hear about. So who's doing it?
Oh, his name is Sean O'Hare.
Sean O'Hare. When are you planning on doing it?
June 12th. He'll be in Cleveland. I know he's going to be here in February, like in the Cleveland area as well in February, but I don't want to do it that soon. I want to give myself some mental time to.
My birthday's June 5th. Maybe I can get a hold of him and get in around that time.
I think so. I feel like he's still taking an
Did he
appointment.
tell you about the procedure, or
Yeah, I do
did you
have an
look at
email
about
from him.
How he goes about it?
I've seen his Instagram work.
So
And
do
I
it,
I know how he like roughly does it. Like he kind of, I think he starts in the back and then just cuts forward. And then this is the one thing I don't know if all people do, but he stitches down the sides of the tongue to help keep it separated. Because I know your tongue is so like, I don't know what the term is, but it will like just grow back together if you don't stop it. Because it's really,
Yeah.
it's just really good at
It'll
healing.
just keep growing.
And
It'll grow
so
right back together. Yeah.
He'll stitch it. And then he sent me an email and it was like, especially after it's done, like try to avoid drinking, try to avoid smoking. You're going to want to suck on ice,
Nostril dabs.
switch to, yeah, it's going to be rough.
Weed suppositories.
Switch to, oh God. Oh,
You're
God.
doing your drugs wrong again, Jordan. You're doing them wrong.
You guys
again.
don't use those?
You know, like, oh shit. I also know that you have to switch to, at least for the rough heal time, you got to switch to a liquid diet, which
Y'all doing it wrong.
you're doing. That's how you get the real
So
high.
banana smoothies.
Yeah, like banana smoothies. And sure is one thing he said. I know I also, which this makes a lot of sense. I have to bring an unopened toothbrush and toothpaste to the appointment, which makes a lot of sense because I wouldn't trust anybody to just be like, yeah, I brushed my teeth 10 minutes ago. Because I'd be like, okay.
Right.
I'd be like, sure you did. So I get
bet
that
your
a
mouth
lot.
smells like shit for fucking.
Go
a
give
while.
yourself a
But at the
10
same
minute
time, you're gonna
scrub,
keep
Listerine it.
yourself really clean though. I imagine I'm gonna keep like when I do mine, I'll probably have Listerine on me, fucking. Unless they say don't do it all the time,
Yeah.
you know, because it might dry it out because the alcohol a lot. I don't really know how that is going to work. Or they'll probably just, I don't know if it's salt water.
I think, I think he told me something about it. You switch to, I think, Biotin mouthwash.
Okay. Do they use anesthetic on your tongue before?
I have heard most people don't,
Because that's fucked up.
which, yeah.
That's fucked up if they don't.
I don't think I don't know. Like, I don't
mean, if
think
you're
he
gonna-
does.
I feel like afterwards it's gonna
I mean,
hurt
it's
worse.
really
anyways.
not. It's really not fucked up, but it scares me.
I
It
feel like afterwards
definitely-
it's gonna hurt worse anyways. It's
definitely
like a
scares me.
piercing. In the moment,
But
I-
they're splitting it.
yeah,
There's a
but it
knife
never hurts.
splitting your
It never hurts that bad in the moment. It's gonna be a sharp scalpel. It's gonna be surgical grade. It's gonna be like it's gonna happen so fast. It's not gonna hurt getting it done.
I can
It's
feel
gonna
it talking about it.
you
I
know what I
know.
could imagine? I could imagine it getting done and then lidocaine and then suturing.
Yeah, like maybe after he's done, he's like, all right, I'm gonna do this to like kind of help you with the, because I bet especially the first like 24 to 48 hours post that happening, I bet your tongue just gets so fat that you're just like, you probably won't talk. Like you just will be like,
Fat and just two stubs.
yeah, like you'll go to open your mouth and your tongue will just like bleh out and you'll be like, oh gosh, like how do you talk? And you're just like,
I'm excited. I
Like-
can't wait for it still, but I am I'm really gonna try to go to someone who can. I was thinking about just going to a fucking plastic surgeon and having their ass put me out, but at the same time, that might just be overkill.
like knock me out, cut my tongue, we'll be done.
I'll be super dope.
All right.
I'll pay the extra money to knock my ass out.
Have you guys ever looked
or at
into ear
least, or at
pointing?
least just like, no, I would never do it
Why?
because of the aftercare.
Is it crazy?
No, I think it looks dope. I think anyone who
No, I
wants
think
to
it looks
do it,
great, but
go
that's,
through the procedure if you want to do it. But I've talked to multiple people who have done it, and it is like a year of hell.
What
oh,
about the coin
Because
slots?
your
where
ears-
people get like
They
the
thought
little
they
coin
thought their
slot
ears
cut
were
out
just
of their ear.
they thought their ears were just never gonna like not
stop
be sore.
hurting.
I mean, they could never like use a pillow. They could only lay like flat. On
Did you
their
ever have
back.
an industrial piercing?
Yeah, and it felt just that. I imagine that like
Yeah,
or
mine
just
almost
any
got
ca-
ripped out,
anything
and
cartilage.
that
Oh,
sucked.
God.
anything cartilage.
Ooh.
I always imagined like I took my industrial right away.
Yeah.
Using the healing
You
process
couldn't
was
even
too
get
much.
through the heel.
No,
I
That's
was
too
like
much.
4 months in. It was almost healed. I almost ripped it out and started all
I went through
over.
like
So
a
it was
year,
like almost a year of
or
being
two
uncomfortable.
phase of a lot of like piercings because I became a piercer for a minute and then quit because I was a bad piercer and I should not have been piercing. I didn't want to do it. My shop kind of made me do it, and I realized that I should not be doing this.
All of
Fair.
mine have
But
been
in the
6 months
meantime,
or
I was
less,
getting
except this
pierced
one.
like crazy.
Because I had my septum done at one point. That I took that out within 6 months, mostly just because my nose was constant. Like I was constantly just doing this because my nose was itchy. And one day I was at work and I was doing food service stuff, and I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck this. And I just took off my gloves and I took out the ring, and then it stopped itching as soon as I took it out. And then I was like, I'm just not gonna deal with this because like I was stopping. Like I had to change gloves so much because I was just like, oh, my nose was so unbearably itchy. I had my bridge done. I really liked that, but I was also doing work at a haunted house and my makeup was getting like stuck behind it. And so one day I took it out to clean the makeup off, and it healed like in that 5-minute window of trying to clean my makeup off. And I went to shove it back through and it got stuck halfway. And I was like, well, all right, my bridge is done.
Oh.
This is the only thing that's lasted. And I've had this, I think, almost 2 years now. And I talk about getting it removed constantly, mostly because, which this is kind of my fault for having a large gem on it, but I bump into it all the time. When I sleep on it, like I'll wake up and it hurts. And
Would you just put a smaller gem
I think
on it?
that's what I'm going to try to do first, is just go back to like a flat gem. But my niece also, she doesn't do it. She's only done it twice in the 2 years, but she'll look at it sometimes and she won't pull on it, but she'll just like touch it. And I'm like, don't. I'm like, get away. Like, stop. I know what you're doing. I know what you're thinking. I'm like, don't do it. And then she's like, she kind of laughs and I'm like, I get it, but also like, don't do it. But I still like it a lot, so I don't.
So I see a lot of girls that have them in their dimples on their back. I couldn't.
I couldn't
never.
imagine,
How do you
like-
sleep? And I asked them all this, and they're like, "Yeah, it does get snagged." Hee hee. It's like, no, but really, like, how do you sleep? Like, I would constantly be worried, like, oh my god, did I rip it out? Like,
Yeah.
I'd constantly be waking myself up, checking, or just uncomfortable or itchy.
Yeah,
I
they'd
mean,
have to be
they
done
look
really.
cute,
If they're done really well, they should be in there.
but I just feel like it's so much more maintenance.
I think
That's
that
why I
about my
took all
face
my
sometimes.
piercings out. I just didn't.
Too much
I just
work?
liked having, simple. I never got a dermal or anything. If I got one of those and it was in there solid, I probably would just keep it and wouldn't worry about it. But
I imagine maybe
I
getting
almost,
my
I almost
Libre
got
done
I almost got a
sometimes.
third eye dermal. I'm
Nice.
kind of glad I didn't though, because I probably would have got it from someone who wasn't that good at the time, and then it probably would have been scarred, and then it would have had a fucking
I
look
think
what
mine is
looked like a
pretty good.
giant like pimple scar or something.
Yeah.
I had really big snake bites and I got forever scars there. They don't bother me at all though. One day my face will be totally covered.
Can you still wear jewelry in them? And this?
Probably not. No.
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 I
still
can
got a hole.
feel my industrial.
I still got a
and-
hole in my tongue though, that I always wonder if I can get something back through it.
Hmm.
But I definitely want to, when I get a split, cut farther back than that.
I don't know.
Ah,
It just
you got me
seems like
excited
so
about the
much
tongue
learning
split
how
thing,
to
man.
talk again.
So did he say if he's going to use anesthetic or not?
He didn't, which actually I'd have to check the email again, but I'm assuming he won't, which that worries me, but also I guess whatever.
It'll be so quick.
Whatever he does to everyone else goes through it, I guess.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
know?
tried to. I'm like, well, if anybody else,
It's
I'm
just
also
the
like, those
thought of
people don't
it.
have-
It's just the thought of getting something like that split in half, and that's what gives me a lot of anxiety. I think if I took a Xanax before, I'd be fine.
Just
I do
chill.
not condone Xanax use at all. I think it's actually really bad. And it's really addicting for anybody.
Jordan's
I
just
haven't
like, I don't want
I
to
have
remember
not
a second
had
of
a
it.
lot of problems. I have not had a lot of problems with Xanax myself, but plenty of people I know in my life have. But these are the instances where Xanax does come
Or
in
like-
very handy, because it'll give you all the confidence you need and the forgetfulness that you'll need
that you'll want
to get
later.
over it. Yeah. The trauma of feeling your body part being cut in half. Just the thought of getting a tiny cut kind of fucks with me.
Me too. But that's also kind of like what we were talking about earlier. That's like more in regards to my tattoos, not so much like, I mean, the pain of getting cut hurts, but I'm mostly just like
If
my
you
art,
get
like my
injured,
art, my
you'll be
art,
like, thank God it wasn't in the middle of a tattoo.
like my art. Oh no, like what do I do? Especially like I'm always worried about this thing. Like my whole torso, I'm like, man, I know one day I'm gonna do something really stupid and I'm gonna mess up like a little section, and I'm gonna be so pissed. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like my not even just that it was like that it cost me any money or anything, just that like it'll look funny to me, and then even covering it, I'll still be like Like, I'm so stupid. Like, why did I jump off this cliff
Yeah.
not knowing where I was going? Like,
So
why did I do that?
that's the funny thing about tattoos. You start to think more about that kind of stuff, because normally, I don't know, if I was to get a scar from something, I probably wouldn't think a ton of it if I wasn't getting tattooed and stuff and just had normal skin. Like, oh,
Yeah,
scar.
like,
Scar is
whatever.
almost like a tattoo itself. You
Like,
know what I
cool.
mean? Like, sweet. But yeah, the same thing doesn't apply to your $10,000 back piece or torso piece, and you get a
You're
big
like,
gash in
"No."
it or something like that. That's $1,000. That could be $1,000 gash as well. But even regardless of the money, I know exactly what you mean about the art, and I think the art overcomes the money always. I feel
Yeah, like,
I'm
of
right
course
there
the
with
money
you.
is one aspect,
But then
for me, it's
the
just
physical
art. Like,
material aspect of
like
it, of like, okay, if I do want this to
like, it'd be like if a
So it's like-
canvas painting got cut, you'd be like,
all my fault,
you'd be
but-
like, damn it, like, now it's never gonna look the same, even if you patch it. Like, you're always just gonna know that you did that thing. It's just going to be like a thing that you're mad at yourself about. Like, not even that, because I'd still get it fixed or like redone
Right.
or whatever, but I would just be like,
having to treat yourself like a painting, right?
right, yeah,
I gotta
And
stay
doing the-
hydrated
and doing
so
the
my
same
tattoos
about our
look
paintings.
nice.
yeah. I gotta keep drinking this water, man.
Right.
my tattoos look dingy if I don't stay hydrated.
All right, if that's the case, you should shave your whole body then all the time.
Chugging water, walking around.
I
with a
think
big
everyone I tattoo should just be bald from now on.
bald.
and naked. You can have hair on your head, but you can't have hair in your arms or your
Bald.
legs or your back. Anywhere we've tattooed, you got to shave there for the rest of your life.
It's light.
I've been thinking about that with my armpit because Kevin was like, hey, like, do
I
me a
hate shaving
favor and
with a razor.
shave your armpit for me because I don't want to do it with a disposable razor. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I'll do it. And I shaved my armpit, and I've never shaved my armpit before. And I put my arm down, and I was like, this is the weirdest feeling in the
don't
world.
like the
Slimy.
feeling. It
I
sticks
was like,
together.
"Ah." I was like, I miss the hair. I already miss it. Like, please grow back.
I
But
get
then I'm
razor
also like, man, once my armpit hair grows back, I'll want to see the thing, and I'm gonna probably maybe shave it. But then I'm also like, but will I? Because
Well, you could
It is
get some
kinda nice- it
clippers.
is kinda
and
nice
just
just
like
to-
clip it short.
I'll probably just have to do that.
have
'cause
it
Yeah.
hidden in there. Until
Oh, that's what a
time's
lot of
right.
my clients
The
they do, like
bald?
real bright color stuff on. They'll just clip their body hair short so you can still see it a lot easier.
Yeah.
hmm
I definitely do that with my chest because I don't have like a ton of chest hair, but this little patch, every so often I'm like, now I can't see the tattoo as good, and there's just this. You also can't see the hair, and you just touch your chest, and you're like, what is this scratchy shit on me? And you're like, okay, I gotta
Right.
get rid of it.
I
Like,
know.
eh.
I got like 5 hairs over here that were coming in.
Five?
No, I'm
Five hairs?
No, I literally got like 5 chest hairs. And I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing my chest.
like
It's all right, guys. I don't have
No, I'm
that
just kidding.
problem.
I always wonder. I'm like, I got like 5 solid hairs that get like this long if I don't shave them, and then like a few nipple hairs. I'm like, it's one day the rest is gonna like pop in,
Maybe.
right? Or am I just
Get,
gonna
like, a
have like
patch off to the
5 like
side.
solid
it's
hairs?
like
Like
once you hit like a certain age, it's just like
those 5 hairs are exactly the hairs that would come in if I was to be very hairy, but the rest, I don't know. Not even
Five.
peach fuzz.
5 hairs.
Not even peach fuzz. I think it's the alien in me.
It could be.
You don't need no hair in space.
Nope.
Or maybe you need lots of hair in space. It's
Hmm.
cold.
it's
Real
cold.
cold.
Hmm.
That's where Bigfoot went. He's like, I'm going to space.
Would you? Would you need space? Would you need space in fur? Would you need space if you had fur? No, would you need fur in space? Do you think that would happen evolutionarily? Or do you think you would just be so accustomed to whatever systems were going on for 10,000 million fucking years down the line if you were to be a space-bearing race in
I think-
space?
I think that our ancestors, our space ancestors, must have come from a planet that was continually 72 to 80 degrees all the time. And we didn't need hair. And also, there were no predators
Yeah, it's called Valhalla.
or sharp rocks. We're really squishy with no defense mechanism built in.
Maybe
not
we had to
from the
lose it. Maybe we had to
sun.
lose our hair so we could swim and catch a lot of fish.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
either.
just think we're from some
think
alien
that was-
planet
that was a
that
small
is
theory out
72 to 80 degrees all the time and just far enough away from the sun that sunburns are not a thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dream.
See?
Sunburns are terrible. I'm
Right.
so fair
But we're
skinned.
also like, that's also the thing is I feel like we're so adapted to this planet and these, like what these systems are. They would have to be adapted to the exact
But we're
same
not.
things.
I'm sitting
we're
here
also,
with
like,
layers
perfectly
on
adapted to
right
that.
now. This is not perfectly adapted.
Right. But maybe as we became more intelligent, what were the reasons why fur? Let's name some cons to fur. Dirty, got to wash yourself a lot. Put you out in
Yeah,
the
but
open.
some people
Saber-toothed
actually
tigers
argue. I'm
come
not
get
saying
you.
I believe this, but some people actually believe that fur like helps hold pheromones, and that also enables a lot of like
I believe that.
subconscious
I bel-
communication.
I believe those things.
Like some people believe that hair and fur is actually very powerful for like our other senses to work the way that they're supposed to work. Like for instance, like if you have arm hair, you can detect like wind without even thinking about it. You know what way the wind's coming from and when the temperature changes, and you know there's a
Right.
lot of things.
But do you
that-
think after 10,000, let's go 10,000 to 100,000 between those times where we went from like major evolutions from like monkey style of people to what we are now between 100 and 10,000 years ago? So that's when we started losing all of our fur. And so don't you think that maybe being inside shelter and having warmth, and now also that's kind of like the main thing, then we kind of create society, and now society becomes dictated, just like birds being all fancy and
You
crazy.
think because
society
we wear
starts
clothes,
wearing
we
more
stop growing
clothes.
hair.
But if
Is that what you're telling me?
I think that over
Because I
time
know
it could
some
happen.
people that have like built-in sweaters.
But there's some people that are super hairy, and some
Yeah.
people,
Blade's thinking
some
of
people that
somebody,
some
and
people that
he's-
aren't though.
I don't know. I don't think we're
I am
equipped.
not trying to tell you that that's what I think. I'm literally brainstorming of possibilities.
We're not naturally equipped for this planet.
So I'd like to entertain that thought, but I don't know.
Without killing other animals and taking their pelts to keep us warm, we're not naturally
What do you
equipped.
think, Blade? Do you think we're from outer space and something came down and brought us here? Do you think we were seeded and still evolved?
After hearing it, I kind of feel like Fawn might be right, because we are very not equipped for this.
We're
this world.
squishy
Like,
and
yeah, we're
probably
squishy.
delicious.
In the
Probably
grand
to
scheme of
other
things,
animals.
especially compared to a lot of things, we're weak. Like amongst ourselves,
Well,
we
what
can be
about
strong or
slugs?
weak, but like
Oh well, okay. Then we start
Slugs
talking
are
about
super
like
adaptive.
snails, and snails and
real.
slugs
Suckers
are
will
totally
freeze and
different.
come right back.
They're like octopus. They're equipped for everything. They're
Yeah,
slow
most
motion.
conditions. I mean, if we're naked, we couldn't be outside all night. A part of me does feel like it might have happened through, our creation of society and all that, and our need for clothes, and how much we still.
I think our need for
know.
clothes is what made us have to have a society. Like we had to work together to keep warm, basically.
I believe that too. I can entertain that too. But I think that's somehow they work in conjunction. But I wonder where we came from. I wonder.
I told you, a planet 72 to 80 degrees all year
Always.
long. It's a perfect sunset all the time.
What planet?
I
Mars?
don't know what it's called. I don't even know what galaxy
How would we
it's
get?
part
How
of.
would we get here from there? Aliens. That's the only thing.
Our ancestors.
There's
I
nothing
told
else
you.
that can be there. If
I'm
it was,
telling
if they
you, it's
were
our
angels,
ancestors.
dropped us off so
if they
long
were
ago.
angels, they were aliens.
They're probably like, this planet is as close to
They're
ours
just
as
other.
we're gonna find.
They're just other beings.
You must
out there.
learn how to wear clothes. You must learn how to cook your food. This planet will kill you. Work together.
be careful, work together, don't fuck up.
Here's fire.
Here's fire.
Cook your food.
We'll start you out with a little something.
This is flint. This is a spark. Good luck.
I wonder if there was a really. I wonder if there was a really long period of time, like before the ice age, that was like very, very warm and hot, very humid, and that really would have made fur really like difficult to have. Do you think if there was a span of time where everything was kind of like it is, like either
It could have been
in
a
the de-
paradise.
I don't
and
even
then
want to say
struck
the
by
desert,
a meteorite.
the desert, because in the desert it still might keep you from the sun a little bit, and keep your skin shaded. But if you were in, like let's say like Amazon rainforest and everything was super rainforesty and super. Well, there's a lot of things with fur in the rainforest, They're gonna get along just fine. I don't know, Fawn. I'm trying to think my way around it. I'm trying
But
to
we're
be. I'm
different
trying to be,
from all the other
trying to
animals.
be rational for the folks.
We're different from every other animal.
Think
We
of the-
can't
think of the
survive in our
folks.
own atmosphere, in
Think
our
of the
own
people that can't
environment.
handle that idea. They're out there, mind
It's
blown.
just my hypothesis.
You know how many people just got so angry because you
It's
said
just my
because aliens
hypothesis.
brought us here? all, I don't know, 3 or 4 people listening. No, I'm just kidding. Just
Nice.
kidding.
That's all 3 or 4.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I feel like we had to come from somewhere else. We're too squishy and defenseless.
I need to know.
Especially
I
defenseless.
wanna
Like,
know.
at least everything else has, like, good,
Yeah,
good teeth.
Do you know
a
how many
tiger never needed
how
to evolve to
you
build
know
a gun.
there are thousands and thousands of planets we already know that have exactly our climate and have exactly like life building climates that we know have water there, and we know are super earths, and that's what a super earth basically is.
Is it going to say 72 to 80 degrees
The
all
super-
year long,
I don't
everywhere on the planet?
probably.
That's what we need.
I don't know everywhere. They might have seasons, but they're exoplanets. They can't tell a ton about what's going on those planets, but they're oh man, they're gonna be. They just put a new satellite in space, and this one is like the most intense. I forgot what it's called. I just watched a video on it. Like the most intense satellite we have yet. And the biggest thing like about the images is that like each image every day it's going to pull like 100 terabytes of imaging
Oh
out of
my
the sky
Nice.
Gosh, that's awesome.
Nice.
every day. And so
Cool.
like their biggest
Super
task
high res.
now is
Mm.
basically holding on to information, because that's a fuck ton of information to hold on to
100
and to sift
terabytes.
through.
Phew.
It's the most powerful camera we got.
Hmm.
They're going to be able to see exoplanets and what's going on in exoplanets, and if there's life out there, this should be able to see the smaller things in space and a lot more radio frequencies that are out there and spectrums that we weren't going to be able to see. I need to learn more about it before I can like really tell you
That would
about
be
all of
rad
it.
to
But I
learn
just
more
found out about it like in the
the
past 2
spectrum.
days and thought that was really cool. I knew there was some cool stuff like that coming out, but hearing about just how powerful this one was seeing like how much more powerful compared to other ones, it blew my mind.
So we're going to hear about aliens soon. We're back to
Yeah.
that.
I think they're everywhere. And it's only our ignorance that's seeing it being quiet. There's a lot of factors that lead to that happening.
What if they really do say, hey, it is us. We are the aliens. Duh.
Did you
What
know?
if that's
Well,
what,
did you know if
what
the-
they
if-
released to us? It's like, yeah, like we came here from another place a long time ago. Like, duh.
Who?
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
What if they that's the big thing? Like, we are the aliens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's very, 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 very probable.
Probably.
I just want how it's like believing in Jesus. It's like you could never say that, yeah, he was the
Yes.
son of God. No one can say that because they just don't know. Past is the past. You just will never know. And you can never believe stories because you can't believe shit that people say. So it's just, you can't just like throw yourself at it like that. Well, you could. It doesn't really. Because we'll probably find out the answers, so much deeper. But I think at its base, it's a pretty baseline idea. I mean, from anywhere out there, it's an aliens. Anything outside of Earth.
We've talked about aliens a lot this show. We've talked about aliens.
Mhm.
We mentioned
I
Bigfoot.
tell you what, it's like 3/4 of everything that's on my mind all the time.
aliens.
Yeah, especially this year.
Yeah.
I don't obsess about it. I just love to entertain the idea, and I love to think about the possibilities of different ways that things can evolve and ways that things can come about in different places. And you constantly, like, the more you get outside of your own imagination of the way you think about things happening, it's like thinking about that is a great exercise in getting outside of your own box and thinking of a whole new way that things could have came about. And thinking about all the little decisions that would be so much different than the decisions we had to make in a different environment like that. We got organisms that grow in sulfur here in like 500-degree temperatures. Underwater. In like where it's not even like water anymore. It's just like pure like 500-degree methane pouring out of these fucking pipes. And you got all sorts of crabs and shit that feed on that in the deep ocean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely
I
insane.
keep
Meaning-
getting
meaning
lost
that
in this like
life does-
gross eyeball and
life
blade
doesn't-
shoulder that's
Life
staring
does not
at
have
me.
to grow in an 82-degree environment.
This weird like eyeball shape right at the front. Yes, I can't wait to see what that turns into.
I know.
It's gonna be like disgusting. Sorry, that was random.
No,
But
it's okay.
just like I'm daydreaming
It's
about
all right.
what
We should
colors
probably talk
Kevin's
about
gonna.
tattoos.
It's okay.
What
We
colors
can talk about
Kevin's gonna
anything.
pop in there. I mean, we can talk about anything, but it's just staring at me.
I know. I noticed it the other day when I was cleaning it. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this thing is just looking right at me now. And like,
Mhm.
I know that's gonna be like I think when we do our next session, I'm gonna be like, you have to do this first. Like, you have to start here. I'm sorry, you don't have a choice in the matter. You've got to do that. Which I feel like that's what he's gonna probably want to do anyway.
Mhm.
What are you thinking for your lower arm?
Probably more of the same.
Just keep going with the
I think so.
What do we call that? Japanese mech?
Something like that. Yeah, he doesn't really have a name for it yet.
Japanomac.
I like that Japan mech. I definitely want him to do my hand, but I also keep having other like maybe potential thoughts about my hand, but still got such a long way to go before I get there.
Have you guys ever heard of the elusive Egyptomech?
Egyptomech. Talk to
Mhm.
me about
that
Egyptomech.
sounds
It
cool.
sounds like pyramids
So-
and crystals and
So, guys, gather in, listen,
all right.
come around the fire. No, but so Egyptomech, I was told about it when I first started tattooing, and I thought it just sounded like the coolest thing. And I was like, I've seen some biomech, like a lot of the paintings that I did at the time were fairly biomechy. And someone mentioned Egyptomech to me, and then I could never find any references on it, but I feel like he showed me some pictures on it, like at that time, and then I could never find it again. Like, and like anyone I asked about it, no fucking clue what Egyptomech was until about I don't know, for when I was getting tattooed by Guy for the first time. Guy mentioned Egyptomech and Aaron Kane in like the small period of time that Aaron Kane was making like these like Egypt style like mech, and he called it Egyptomech. And I was like, bam, I brought that together. It was like the elusive Egyptomech. And Guy even introduced it. Something that he said was talking about it being like elusive, like you know, came around for a minute and then was gone. And I was like, that's so funny because it was taught to me, and like that was one of my big inspirations for wanting to do mech, was like seeing like the Egyptomechs. I was like that's what through like I realized that it could be more than one thing, because I heard of like biomech and stuff, and then I was like, oh, Egyptomech, and I realized that there's like, oh, you could just call anything mech, like, and it's just like whatever, you know.
Yeah. The transformation
Right.
of one into another.
And realizing that it's just like this super cool art form, and didn't get too much into it at that time because that was so far away from where I was at with art. Like I couldn't even fathom coming up with something like that at that time, even though that's kind of what I was painting, was stuff ish like that.
But
And
you never would have imagined turning it into a functional
I
tattoo.
couldn't translate paintbrush to tattoo. Like it just, I seen things in lines, and I seen things as like just filling with color, as opposed to just like fine strokes and like really blending colors in there, and you know, just beginner tattoo stuff while sticking my needle way
Blending
the fuck
colors
out.
in there. You said that like a politician.
Right? Because I was doing it wrong. It's bad stuff you shouldn't
Just-
be doing.
They were just pointing with your thumb at me.
It was me who put I put the color in there wrong.
Past Jordan did me wrong.
Right? Past Jordan put the colors in. Future Jordan wouldn't have done it like that. We did it when we shouldn't have. But here we are now,
It's
doing
all
good
right.
tattoos and
It's all
feeling
right.
good about everything. I'm going all over the place with this one. I'm just excited to have the cameras. I'm excited to have Blade here and Fawn.
Jordan likes the switcher.
I do
The
enjoy the
stuff's
switcher.
nice when it all talks to each other. I'm really excited.
Mhm.
Our setup's only gonna continue to get better and easier.
Things
but
are growing, and I hope I hope everyone out there gets something from this. You know, we just like to hang out and talk about all the stuff, and I think,
That was fun.
I don't know, this is when I'm listening to podcasts, what I like to listen to. But there's another part of it where it's like, no offense to anybody, like I don't care if anyone was interested in it or not. I still would be doing it, and I still want to do it. And I think even if no one listened to it for like years down the line, I think like even if Fawn was still down, I'd still be doing it with Fawn. If Fawn wasn't in, I'd be doing it myself.
I kind of look forward to
'Cause I
this
just-
every day,
I just-
or every week.
I
Even
think
if
it's so much fun.
even if I have to work
It's
in
fun
the
to articulate
evening.
thoughts with each other. It's fun
Yeah.
to have this like a meditative conversation, because there's not a lot of times that you sit and directly talk to people for a couple hours and really direct your thoughts and concentrate. So it's like listening meditation, talking meditation, a taking your turn meditation, and you just get to sit and smoke. So it's awesome.
It's a good morning. Well spent.
I
Mhm.
agree.
Well spent. Do you tune in and listen when you're not on?
Usually,
You
yeah.
catch us, yeah?
There are I've missed like a couple here and there, and I try to listen to them later if I can, but I'm usually trying to watch them live because I'm off on Thursdays, and usually I'm not doing much.
Nice.
So I try to just at least have it on in the background while I'm doing other stuff.
Nice. One of my
Okay.
goals is I want to start like actively encouraging other tattooers to like put us on while you're working.
Right.
Like throw us on
And
so your
please give
client
us
can listen
feedback.
to us.
Give us some feedback. I mean, I think
I mean, we jibber
we like
jabber about anything.
we like the way we like
but
the way we do things. We're always open to, you know, a little bit of critique here and there and all that. But we also just like, we like to hear that you're there. We want to hear if you guys want to hear something talked about, or you know someone who's just an awesome collector, got some really badass tattoos, or
Did I talk to you about who I've
something
got
you
lined
want to
up
talk
for,
about,
for
like
next week,
leave
Jordan?
us some comments. Go to our website, tattoocollecting.com. What
Did I talk to you about who I've got lined up for next week?
are we doing, Carrie?
No.
The doula, tattoo
Yes.
doula. I was seeing, I don't know who she is, but I've seen that she is a avid
She's-
sharer
she's from
of
here in
tattoos and
Columbus, but
probably a
she's
great
been-
collector.
Yeah, she's got a back piece from one of them is by Conan Lee. Some of her work has been published. She's a Hell City goer. I don't know her personally, but I feel like she's in the scene enough. So I'm not sure if she's going to come in the studio or Zoom in with us, but it'll be really nice to talk to a female collector. We haven't had a female on besides me yet, right?
Yeah, we definitely want to talk to some female collectors for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good to have her on.
know.
And also it seems like just from like scrolling through her Instagram page, like she kind of wants to be a voice of guidance as well for tattoo collectors, because like, you know, there's not a lot of places to look to. Like you can flip through tattoo magazines and you can flip through Instagram, but a lot of that is, you know, it's directed towards artists,
Yeah.
you know, or like towards like an artist trying to sell tattoos. And that's really hard to educate yourself through sales
Right.
over and over. Like,
Right. And you can look at pictures all day, but it's really nice to hear people talking about it. It's really nice to like hear things actually broken down, or hearing the personal side of things. I'm curious to see.
yeah,
Curious to hear what she has to say about things. Wasn't familiar with her.
I'm excited. She's followed me on my personal page for a while. But she's been following us on the tattoo page pretty much since I started it. But I was checking out, she's got a blog and she's got a few articles that she's written. And I was just kind of checking out what she has to say. And I think she'd be a really good one to talk to. I think she's got a lot of similar motivations to do what she's doing with her platform as to what we're doing with this, you know, just making the tattoo experience better, you
Nice.
know.
We should find as well. I think that's really awesome. That's super awesome. I can't wait to talk to her next week. But I was just also going to say that it got me, what you were just saying got me inspired for, we should find some other podcasters as well to get on here and talk to.
I'm definitely down.
Does she do a podcast or anything? Or she
I
just
think
kind of like,
she's
she
got
just
a
runs her,
blog.
runs
I
her
think she's got a blog
Instagram?
and her Instagram.
Is it just the Instagram, or she got more outside of that?
I would
Websites and stuff?
probably a Facebook too. I only creeped on her Instagram and her blog, but she's got like an outside web page that it directs you to. So I was just kind of scrolling through some of her articles. But definitely worth checking her page out. It's at Tattoo Doula on Instagram. So it's pretty
Nice.
there's
I was
some
checking it
good
out.
information
I was
on it.
checking it out. I want to look back at it and go through there. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know what she's about before we talk.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know her personally, but I'm excited to talk to a stranger, Jordan.
Right.
Do you
There's
get
some.
excited for strangers?
Oh yeah.
Do you get excited for strangers?
I definitely do.
Especially
you
tattoo talk.
You never
Oh,
really
yeah.
know. We definitely we've only had a couple strangers on here. I think you were kind of a stranger. No, did we tattoo you first, or were you were a bit of a stranger? We didn't know you before that.
Not really.
Like,
I've kind
personally.
of met Fawn like once or twice through getting like a really painful area tattooed. And so I wasn't talking much. It was just kind of like, yes, like, yeah, yeah, like, yeah, but also like I'm clearly in pain. So like I can't just be like, yes, I actually think this, and this, but otherwise not really.
Yeah.
Because that day we did the first one was like our consultation. I was trying to think of the word. So yeah, we hadn't met yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we did Joey.
Yep.
Joey, I didn't meet Joey before that. You probably already.
Yeah,
met Joey
I'd hung
before
out with
that.
Joey.
A stranger for me. I'm always excited.
He'd probably be a
New
good one to
people.
have on again.
Yeah,
I'd love to talk with Joey
I
some
love
more.
his perspective on things, and he's
Joey's
a
great.
fucking funny ass person.
Yeah, I would love to have him on again.
There's a couple people that Cassidy Bell has been doing some bodysuits on. I need to get a hold of them. Message
That
them
would be
through the
rad.
tattoo collecting thing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many amazing people out there. with really awesome collections.
Todd's got a whole
So,
group
like,
of
if
friends up
anyone-
in Michigan.
If anyone
that
out there
wanna
has some
talk
friends with
us.
some like, serious like heavy hitter pieces, like hit us up.
I mean, in reality, you
wanna
don't even
know
really
about 'em.
have to have heavy hitter pieces. We want to hear, like, if you don't have, actually, somebody I want to talk to specifically is somebody who doesn't have any tattoos and is looking to get a bodysuit.
Right. So our
And then
our
I would-
preconditions for that.
I would
are-
also like to talk to somebody who doesn't have any tattoos and who is just looking for their first tattoo, period. Like,
Yeah.
just a
I'm with you
regular,
on
know.
that, and I think that's going to be a future like semi project we'd love to be involved with. Like, so if anyone out there is like fresh starting, wants to start big bodysuit and wants, I don't even know if you're getting to the full bodysuit or just a first tattoo, but
Both.
yeah. So like, if anyone's out there wants to start their bodysuit, we would love to have you on the podcast, talk about where your head's at before. We want to get to know you before, and then as you progress through your stuff, when you get your tattoos, we'd love to talk to you after, or I don't know, maybe we come check out your work while you're getting done. But we also just want to keep track of a little bit of progress. We're doing that a little bit as I get tattooed, but it's been here there with that. We've done a few sessions that we weren't podcasting with.
I wish I could have done that more with my tattoo collection. I wish I would have thought ahead to like record more things so that I could share it. But, I'm not the one in the group to be like, let me get my phone out to take a picture of this. I'm never that one. So I kind of missed a lot of opportunities to share my experiences. But I really want to help kind of, we've talked about it on previous episodes where, you get into a tattoo and you get so far into the tattoo.
Sorry, he just turned to that camera and made the weirdest face, and I saw it there.
Thanks, Jordan. So anyways, I was about to talk about the spiritual transformation from being a serious tattoo collector, but
Camera turned off. Our number 3 camera turned off. I was trying to look at that one, but I was upset.
That was such a stank face. Like, you just looked.
It was like semi-jokingly exaggerated, but also full of like, what's going on here? I did not mean to interrupt you, but that
It's okay.
camera's not working like it looks like it is.
we're not. Well, anyways,
I would love if
Continue. I'm so sorry.
I would like if we started. back on
Anyways.
that, though.
I would love to basically like catalog the whole experience of the bodysuit. I would love to, talk to you about your motivations and inspirations, why you want this, why you've selected the artist you've selected. I would also love to talk about, some of the easier sessions, maybe the conversations you and your artist have had. And I would love to talk about like the more transformative sessions.
Sorry.
Jordan's losing it.
I know. I'm trying not to look at him either.
I remember making that face, and it was just off timed, and I had just enough time to look back at that and see the entire thing with my face closed up. Super big frown, so it's locked in my memory. I'm sorry.
So while we're talking about viewing the
You can
world
go
through
back.
an adult point of view,
I can't do it.
I
I'm sorry.
can't do it.
I really tried to hold that one in really hard. I'm 100% with Fawn on that, though. We would love to track your journey. We want to be there for the old spiritual progress and all that.
Jordan, what was it like when you got your soul tattooed?
Soul rocking.
I want to talk to people about what that's like. I want
Yeah.
to hear the pros and cons. And being a tattooer, I feel like I go into everything with a little bit of an expectation. I know I'm going to get punished. I know I'm going to get beat up because this is what I do to people. But for somebody that doesn't tattoo, they're not coming into it with the same like expectations that we are. So I would love to get a non-tattooer's point of view throughout their whole journey.
Yeah.
For me, there's always that little bit of karma that's in there. Like it's gonna be brutal and I'm gonna be exhausted because
clients or
I
something like that.
yeah. Guy who's starting a bodysuit with you.
Right. Just be like, hey, guy, give us a couple names of people we want to.
Like, ask.
I
them, see
feel
if they
like
want to be on.
that's not a. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do.
I bet we could find somebody.
Right. Just be like, hey, guy, just to keep it in mind, shoot it to us if you think this person is a good candidate. Because if anyone's good at vetting, something like that, it might be him. And all it's going to take is him to
Mhm.
send a text.
Yep.
Be like, yeah, this person, you'll be in the middle of or like consultation. Be like, oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we could
No
get in with
expectation.
like some of Adrian Lee's clients because I would love to see some of his work evolve.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
would
my
be
God.
cool.
I could literally pick from a huge list of artists, though.
Blade, bucket list tattoos. Do you have any that you don't? Do you have any tattoos that you've always wanted that you haven't had the chance to collect yet?
Like from people.
Either
Or-
a thing or an artist.
Ooh. I definitely want like a really solid portrait. I'm not quite sure of who yet. I just know I really want a solid portrait just because I think that they're, especially from what I see, they're done so differently than most of my other work that
Mhm.
I want it for the fact that I think portraits look great, but I also just think that the like method and approach is so different, kind of similar with realism, like just something like that where I've seen their process is way different than how I've ever gotten tattooed. But far as artists go, there's a lot, like so many that only two come to mind right now. And I think I've mentioned these guys before, but definitely Guy with my neck. I really want like anything from Timothy Hoyer, just because everything I've seen he does is just like so good that like,
I feel like with the collection that you have, Timothy Hoyer would be an outstanding addition.
like he would be cool. And of course, like Philip Liu, like who wouldn't want like anything from Philip? I don't have a preference. That one would be difficult just because of like,
Would you get something
location.
like spacey and alien-y from Tim Hoyer, or
I
would
think
you-
so. Like something kind of like a mix of both. Like I want something in the slightly more his traditional realm, but I want it to kind of have some,
This is who did Derb's back.
Okay.
yeah, like something kind of like that, but also just, I don't know, different in some way. Cause he has like, it's traditional-esque, but it's also like very not in certain ways.
It's
and I just
almost
want-
like graphic.
yeah,
It's like
just
like illustrative but traditional at the same time.
like those are definitely ones. Let me think if there's any more. I mean, I know there's a ton. I know Aaron Kane doesn't, I don't think he tattoos anymore, but I've seen a lot of his older stuff. I would like to get something from him just because like really like all the heavy hitter, like great biomech people, if I
Right.
could get it, I would, like pick up a long list.
Right.
Definitely him. Also kind of in the realism, I'd like to get, since I've seen him do a lot of superheroes, I'd like to get one of my favorite superhero tattoos from like Nico Hurtado, just because like his replication is so crazy. And I'd like to meet him in general, just because he seems so nice and so
Yeah.
cool.
I
Like
just did you see the last piece that he just
yeah, on Megan.
I was just going to ask you about that. Megan
Oh,
Jean
man.
That
Morris.
thing is
the
crazy.
fucking lantern, dude.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Like oh,
Oh man.
like something.
Amazing.
I mean, I
it
don't have
really
the-
looks like she's like walking right out the back.
like I don't have the space for something that large, but
That glow
something
inside
like
the
that, just
lantern, he
like
nailed it.
that's mind blowing.
Ooh. Love it. I love it. Sweet. Well,
I'd love to talk to Megan about her collection. Like, I'd love to talk to her about her
who is
work.
she? Why
Megan
do you
Jean
guys know
Morris?
her?
She's a tattooer.
She's a tattooer.
Yeah.
She does amazing, beautiful. Okay, remember the other day when I showed you that piece and I was like, doesn't it look like something I'd do? And that's Megan
Oh,
Jean Morris.
Okay.
Yeah, in the most
what a coin-
respectful
what a-
way.
what a
Doesn't it
coincidence.
look like something I'd do?
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to her about like her work, how she works, and also,
I'd also get
Yeah.
tattooed from her too, because her work is amazing as well. Like
yeah, I think she
I-
works in a super similar way that I do. Like some of her stencils are crazy garbage, like pixelated nonsense, and she does a lot of freehand work. But she plays with like the field of depth in her landscapes. I just love them. I feel like she and I are definitely chasing a lot of the same like artistic influences for sure.
Yeah.
Yep,
Nice.
she's so good.
just so awesome.
She did the Todd Torres, the acid sheet on his back with the glowing form, with the like DNA molecule.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm
oh,
talking
yeah,
about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's her.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all the pieces come together now.
Yeah, that's who we're talking
I can
about.
be bad with names.
He'll be like, I know your tattoo. I don't know your face.
That's how it
I
goes.
don't know who you is, but I like your
How it
tattoo.
goes. I see a lot of people all about. Don't see a lot of tattoos look like that.
Oh no, that he knocked that one out of the park.
Yep. One of the masters these days.
Hmm.
Definitely pushing tattooing. I mean, to its limits.
Nico?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wouldn't
I
you
think
say? Like one
as
of the
far as
purveyors
portrait artists go, he's really done a lot.
pushing that
like,
envelope.
If you look at his work over like the last 15 years, remember how like back in the day he used like a lot of sherbety kind of colors for skin tones, and then he starts working with the ink companies and the pigments start getting better and more like rich and closer to real tones and skin tones.
Mhm.
Now it's like spot on photorealism with like a touch of Nico's softness.
Like it's scary how good it looks. Every time I see him post anything, I'm just like, oh my god! Like if I could have known when I first started tattooing like about him, I might have an entirely different suit that I do now.
Mhm.
Same with a lot of people though, like kind of like how we were talking about like only knowing about certain things. If I would have started the gate knowing like biomech was a thing, I'd probably just have a bio suit. I don't think I would have like.
Just be covered in bio.
I think I
from
would have
head to
just
toe.
gone for it and been like, let's just do. I would have found somebody. It might have even been Adam since he was in town. I'd have been like, let's do a bodysuit because that's my end goal. And this shit is holy crap. Like, let's do it. Let's go for it. But I'm still happy with what I have now. But I just think if I knew differently back then, it would be different.
Yeah. That's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. At where we're at now. Turning back and your work looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're approaching on the 2-hour mark. Do you think? Do you think we should wrap up? Do you feel like we're?
Yeah. I don't know.
we've
Do we want to talk about
we've
anything
talked
else?
About the universe.
Talking about
We've
aliens.
talked about aliens.
Universe. I'd like to let
Bigfoot.
everyone know that they should spend some time. I don't know, meditating. Everyone's pretty angry lately. Just be nice to yourself and be
Get
nice to
outside.
the people around
Enjoy the
you.
trees.
Look at, like Fawn says, look at things that are 25 feet away at least every once in a while. If you're staring at a screen all day like me.
Oh, he's been listening. Aw, Jordan, that makes me feel so good.
Your daily reminder or weekly reminder to stare at the skies as much as possible if you can see the skies, because if you live in
Absolutely.
the city, it sucks and you can only see a few stars. But
More
It's no
reason to get
excuse.
out to the woods.
it's no excuse. If you can only see 3 stars, look at those 3 stars, because you got to remind yourself that it's up there. And this flatland life, man, it's not everything. There's a lot more going on out there. Tattoos are cool. Just want to thank my homie Turtle. Looking brown man, red man.
Oh, Sandy just reminded me. Do we want to show off Blade's tattoos? Turn the
Oh,
lights up
Blade.
and actually like
Oh,
use
let's,
the good camera.
Sure.
All right, let's ask the
Excuse me, Papa, I
cyborg.
gotta move this
Alexa,
chair.
Alexa, all lights white.
Excuse me, kitty cat. Okay.
Okay, we're back to reality. Sick.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. We're gonna give you a good rundown of Blade's tattoos now.
Blade, disrobe to your comfort level.
Okay, hang on. I can and will take off my pants. I'll at least pull them down.
Fawn, that's not plugged in. Is that camera on? Oh. You got a dead camera and a naked man.
Forget about my
You have a naked man in my living room.
Yeah,
Not all
sorry.
the way. Not
A
all the
dead
way.
camera.
Yeah, I still got the shorts on. I'm not gonna derobe, and I'm not gonna de-pants or de-sock. I just want to show off.
Ladies out there might want to see that dick tattoo.
Right. And also, hang on, it might help for me to sit down so you can see my head because tall.
Oh, let's
we
we're up. Okay, so here's the tattoos that we've always wanted to show you. That is Nathan, right?
Mm-hmm,
Yep. Yeah, oh, yep. I watched that one get done.
That one is Ben Irvin. And then the back is also Nathan Hardy.
Look at that. Mean. Mean.
Okay, let's see the other side.
Other side is also Ben.
Mhm.
Of course, the Adam.
Can you both stand up?
Yeah. The Adam France.
Damn.
more. Kind of show off the Kevin stuff.
Let's see your armpit again. Oh, that looks so gnarly in there.
Mm-hmm. Super crazy. And then switching. All the pieces are done by a ton of different people. I don't have the memory for all of that, but Jordan did all the filler, the cool cyber mech.
I don't think anyone's gonna be able can hear.
Oh, well, wow, yep.
It's okay.
Okay, let's take a look at your legs.
Kevin did. Oh, never mind, I'm writing this.
You can do it. They might hear you in the background.
Kevin did the bottom part of my leg. Ben did this giant dragon on my leg. The Kevin piece goes all the way to my foot.
Let me see your knee.
And a bunch of miscellaneous. I got my gunner
Oh,
biomech
I
piece.
can't wait to get in around this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do some collab work.
Around some ideas.
We're gonna do some collab work in between that.
And then my Marty.
Marty Holcomb.
Yeah, my Marty
The legendary.
Yeah.
Nope, it's a little dark. A little dark. You want to step on the lay a little bit for that one? Pants and his ankles. Don't mind that, guys. Badass collection. It's all right. The amount of times he's gonna have to do this in his life.
I know, I do it in every shot I'm
So you
in.
got on the other side?
Another
This one was
Marty.
Marty.
Another Marty, yep. A classic mom tat.
Sweetie.
And then a gunner dagger. Is that on
Yep, yeah, my shin dagger, yep. That piece definitely led to this piece.
That's so dope.
And my-
So dope.
Which I can sit back down and talk about this. But when we were talking about textures and whatnot, that wood piece always feels like it should like not be soft in my skin. It feels like it should be
Yeah.
like a piece of free floating wood somewhere. I've got a bunch of shit. I forget. Ooh, yeah, shut that one off. Forgot.
Damn. Yeah, those color. This camera picks the colors up real nice.
It does.
Yeah, look at your chest piece on the TV.
God, that's cool.
Looks so nice. Those greens.
Hang on, let me show my back.
It looks better on the TV than it does in real life.
I know, it really does. I
I'm
always get that
no, I'm
way.
just kidding. No, it looks awesome. It's just those greens are popping hardcore. The camera just picks it up great. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, that's our new camera that we're using, so we're able to do these things. So dope. I don't know. Oh, that one shut off too. Just in time.
All right.
In time to wrap it up.
Sweet.
Awesome collection, Blade. I love
Thank
having you
you.
on. You've got so much different stuff. We did a lot of alien talk today, though.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about aliens a lot. I hope y'all
It's
love it
okay.
because
This is
everything when I
It's
learn
alright.
new cool stuff, I gotta tell everyone about it. And
I like it.
here we go. We're gonna talk about it. I mean, I could go on for another hour about it, but we've already done 2.5 hours. I don't want to take up all Blade's day.
Well,
I guess we'll do our
Next
sign off.
Thursday, Tattoo Doula. We're going to talk about probably being a lady and getting tattooed.
Yeah, what it's like to be a lady. Got some ladies coming in.
Well,
I'm excited. to hear that.
it actually just occurred to me that we hadn't talked to another female collector.
Yeah, no,
I always forget that I'm a girl, or I'm the only girl sometimes. So
yeah.
it'd be good to
I
have.
didn't think about it at all. I just think about the collected tattoo people around me and who's been a homie wanting to come in. Now let's get
Yeah, but
do
she's
it.
local. I think she's going to have some rad things to say. So,
Sick.
all right, guys.
Well-
Well, Sandy, do you want to sign us off?
Right after we tell
Sure.
everyone to go to tattoocollecting.com.
Oh,
Please check that out. Leave us all the comments and go to reinventingthetattoo.com. Watch this. And
Thanks, Jordan.
leave us all the comments and all that. Sorry. I just,
thank you. I forgot we didn't say that.
yep. And if you want to get tattooed by Fawn, you can go to Fawn_Baker, right?
Yep, at Instagram.
Yep.
Or fawnbaker.com.
Yeah, that's probably fawnbaker.com is where you're going to want to find her for tattoos, right?
Yep.
Fill out the jot form. Do the same for me, jordanrookistattoo.com. But please leave us feedback on tattoocollecting.com. We want to know what you have to say about this. If you have something to say for us to bring up, if you got something in particular you want us to talk about,
You want to
just
throw
wanna-
your handle out there,
Oh.
Blade?
and UFOs. Tell us about UFOs if you've seen any, please, everybody.
Yes, please tell us about UFOs. My Instagram, I'm only on Instagram, is at Bromodio. which is Bro Modio. That's
Nice.
it. Super easy.
Easy.
Yep. Follow the homie. Do it. Give him a follow.
All right, Sandy, we're throwing it to you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that there's a few events coming up for the rest of the week. There's the usual drawing events on Sunday and Monday. And on Monday, there is Let's Talk Tattoo with Mark from Needle Jig. That's at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the 27th, we've got digital editing for inkjet stencils. They're going to be doing some demos, possibly even showing off their giant stencil machine. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it is
Giant.
great.
The giant, I wonder if that's the one
What's
Derb's been
that?
talking about.
I think
What?
I've seen it. It's
What's going on with that?
He can. I'll let her do it. But if it's the one I think of, you can print a whole back piece stencil.
Yeah.
And like,
That's the one.
yes.
So they might be talking about that there. And then on the 31st, we've got a still life with Nick Baxter at 9 p.m.
Ooh,
Eastern
nice.
Standard
Yeah,
Time.
don't
Meeting
miss any of that.
Alabama. Yeah, so you can join us on the app, Reinventing the Tattoo. It's a mobile app for free to see all of these lovely things, and tattoocollectingpodcast.com. Awesome.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you guys.
All
Have a
right,
good
guys.
And thank everybody for listening. If you've made it to episode 20 or you're just tuning in and this is your first episode, thank you just as much. We're so stoked to be able to do all this and to have all this happen. And thank you to Reinventing the Tattoo and Guy Aitchison for making it all happen, and Gabe and Sandy for also
Making it all happen.
Yeah.
one.
making it happen.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you